Hello, welcome back to Truthseekerstea. I am so thankful and excited to have you here for today's pick a card reading. We're going to be looking into what you are currently not seeing about the connection that you have on your mind, what you're not seeing about your person. So what's kind of distorted right now, and what deeper truths about this connection that Spirit wants to unveil to you. So there are 3 piles for you to choose from. For pile number 1, we have the Dreamy Moons Tarot. Dreamy Moons, yes, that's the full name, I think. Let me just check. Yes, Dreamy Moons Tarot with the clear quartz heart. For pile number 2, we have the selenite heart with the Apparition Tarot. For pile number 3, we have the heart in the hands tarot with the angelite crystal. So go ahead and take whatever time you need to tune into the energy of these piles and see which one you are feeling the most drawn to. You could be drawn to multiple piles, or you may come back to this reading at a later date and find that another pile resonates with you. So don't worry too much. There will be a pretty good energy check-in right off the bat to help you figure out whether or not it's your pile. So that should be helpful for you guys. There will be an extended reading where I will intuitively be picking the topic, so stay tuned for that. If you really feel like your pile's resonating with you and you're interested, I'll have it linked down below. But without further ado, I am excited to get into these piles, and I will see you at your reading. Hello, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. If you chose the clear quartz heart in the Dreamy Moons Tarot, this is going to be your reading. We're going to be looking at what you're not currently seeing about this connection. So I pre-pulled some oracle cards here, and we're going to get pretty in-depth. I decided to go in a person A, person B format, and it's going to kind of be up to you to decide where you're at, but I was basically trying to tune into your energy and what you don't see, not what your person doesn't see. So I'm just going to get these out on the table, and I feel like I will give you enough information to help you figure out whether or not this is your pile. So for your energy, I intended for this to be your energy, so I'm going to call this person A. We have the cave, the sword, and the otter. So this is your energy in the connection. Your person's energy is the medallion. Here, let's try this out. So many cards came out. I just decided to take them though. So we have the medallion, the warrior, and the unseen. And we also have the camel, the moth. Here. The camel, the moth, and the rabbit. So lots of energies for your person. And I'm going to flip them just a match. Okay. So I am picking up that you are the otter person here. So I am actually going to be speaking from that perspective. I guess I'm still deciding how I want to do the reading. But what I'm seeing here is there's a feeling that, so the otter's energy, it's like you're in this energy where I feel like you're someone who's tuned in with your inner child. I feel like you're someone who is very eager to, I'm hearing please, but also eager to interact and build connection with this camel moth rabbit. So, yeah, there's a feeling here that you're, with being in the cave too, there's a feeling that you're very connected with yourself. With the cave, you may have gone through a time period of introspection recently. And yeah, the cave also talks about being in hiding, but also talks about being really in tune with yourself. And so I'm getting this energy here that there's a feeling of you waiting on this camel moth rabbit person, and a feeling of you, there's an anticipation, but also a lack of clarity and decisiveness about your true feelings for this person over here. And I think it makes sense because I'll go more into it, but in looking in this person's energy, I can see why this connection would be confusing, or you could feel that there's contradictions in it that can cause you to have a hard time understanding how you feel about this person, what you really want. And so I feel like this person causes a lot of confusion in you. And I feel like this person also kind of triggers you into going deeper within yourself. And analyzing what your truth is, and not even just about this person, but in general. So I do see this person as someone who does trigger you to look within, because I feel like you feel a strong connection to this person. However, something about the deeper, bigger picture of this connection is something that you have to feel intuitively and you have to trust yourself on. And the feeling of what actually is going on in the 3D, or like what you can see about this connection, is feels completely misleading or different than what your heart's telling you. And so with the sword being in reverse, it's like there's confusion about what this connection's supposed to be, why you feel so strongly towards them, and who this person is. There's a feeling here of not knowing if this person cares about you in the way that you care about them. And so, yeah, it leads to a lot of you having to go deep within yourself, figure out how you feel, and then make a decision on the external. And I feel like right now there's almost this feeling of you being more internal than knowing what your stance is on this connection externally, if that makes sense. So there's a feeling of limbo or complacency going on in this connection. And I feel like partially it is because this person that we're talking about, with the camel, the moth, and the rabbit, there's a feeling that this person isn't 100% connected with their higher chakras, their higher self, their intuition. And with the unseen being here, like the unseen forces, I feel like this person is a lot more focused on what they can feel, hear, taste, and touch. Like they're more tuned into the 3D realm and what's going on in front of them, what they're looking to achieve with the warrior. They're very focused on what's right in front of them. And so I think this person also does feel the connection with you, but there's a feeling that you're way more tuned in with it. And so it feels more overwhelming and strong to you. And then there's almost this feeling of your person being distracted by other things, being distracted by their matrix life, like their routine, their schedules, what their goals are. And so it's a lot easier with the camel being here for this person to go without clarity or go without understanding of this connection, right? And so I guess what you're not seeing maybe is how this and that can be true. So there's this feeling that, yes, big picture, this is a really strong soul connection. But that doesn't mean that it will always look like it. And so sometimes there's this difference between you two where I'm hearing like panic, but it may not be panic. It may just be that you kind of rile yourself up because you're so in touch with the unseen here and yourself with the cave, that it's like when everything isn't aligning, it's like you have a certain truth, like you know a truth about this connection. But I feel like because the 3D maybe doesn't align with it, or this person, like it's like you know their truth or you know what's real, but then maybe you don't get it validated externally. And so it kind of causes you to feel down on yourself or question this person's feelings for you, or want to know their feelings for you, question the connection, right? There's this feeling of maybe not trusting it or something like that. And so I feel like with your person, I just want to explain a little bit about them to give you more clarity. With the unseen being here, I feel like there's this emphasis that this person doesn't see the deeper things, like where you may feel like there's this rich content within this connection to analyze and like sift through, and like you may be really in touch with their feelings and what feelings this connection brings out in you. There's a feeling that this person isn't at that point yet. And with the rabbit here, I feel like this person can feel really anxious. They could be really defensive, or they could get scared. There's this feeling with the rabbit coming out that this person may deny themselves of their inner truth, or they may avoid thinking about this connection. They may avoid digging deeper into this spiritual nature of this connection, because with the camel and the moth and the rabbit are telling me that this person can end up getting distracted. And I feel like they almost use it as a coping mechanism. There's a feeling here that because this may challenge this person or may make them uncomfortable to think about the connection with you, it's like they starve themselves, because the camel is this energy that can sustain themselves. Like they think about a camel being able to go without water, and it's kind of interesting because water would represent the emotions and like our intuition. It's like the camel can go without that element for so long, that it's like this person maybe even has a trait about themselves, where they've learned to be able to tune out their emotions, or they've learned to be able to go without that emotional connection that for you may feel like your bloodline or like your lifeline is being in touch with your emotions. And it's like there's a different energy between you guys. And so I think this person ends up distracting themselves or staying in this fleeing energy, in this energy that seems, what's it called, like non-committal, or um what is it called, there's a certain word I'm trying to think of. It's like vapid, kind of superficial or non-committal, like where they're flighty and they keep kind of going to different things. And I feel like it kind of can make you feel like you're not important to this person. And I also think that maybe you don't see the depth of this person's insecurities and anxiety, because I feel like maybe there's like this otter who wants to play in the water too. It's like, it's funny that it's a water sign. So like you're in this water energy. Or if you're the camel, that's fine too. But the otters loves to be in the water and loves to play in the water. And then this camel's here and is like, I can go without the water for so long. And so then there's this feeling of like the otter being like to the camel, how do you not want to play? Like, how do you not want to indulge in this connection? How do you not want to see me? Like, I'm so eager to see you, and I'm so eager to like bathe in this or like to play in the water, right? And so you are only seeing this outward stance where it almost seems like your person doesn't care or doesn't need it, but it's actually kind of like a safety mechanism that they have. And behind the scenes, it's like I feel like you can't see past this camel. There is this person that you maybe wouldn't expect them to be, or maybe you have like intuition on it, but I think that's maybe not what you're seeing. I feel like what you are seeing is this camel energy where it's like this person seems very determined and seems very stoic and like they don't need much, or you may feel like a fool or like childlike in comparison to this person, and you may put this person on a pedestal, or you may feel like this person has more authority than you or has more power or control, but deep down there's this rabbit and this moth that isn't really that grounded, and is pretty afraid also. And with the medallion being here, there's a feeling. This is kind of just giving me the feeling of this person maybe being focused on a certain goal. Like I'm almost getting like a trophy from the medallion. It's almost like a feeling of where you may be inwardly focused and confused, instead of this person is able to go, has a long stamina for not tapping into their emotions and the unseen realms, or the things that are beyond our rational mind and beyond our physical world. um this person, I feel like, is focusing on maybe a certain goal or some sort of um oh my gosh, the word that you guys all helped me on in my last video, it's like hallmark. It's not hallmark, it's, you guys already told me it so many times, I'm like, no, I'm gonna use a different word. Let's just say a certain oh my god, what is that word? You guys literally commented it like multiple times, but it's a oh my god, it's not a signpost. They're putting certain external markers for achievement that they're super focused on. Um, when this person feels uncomfortable, when this person also doesn't have clarity on the situation, which I feel like they don't, but the more you tap into the emotional realm, the more the more it makes sense. And so what I'm kind of getting is that the way that this person copes with wanting it to make sense, I feel like you go inward and go into your emotions. This person copes with that feeling in a less healthy way, or like in a way that isn't going to really give them clarity. It's actually just going to distract them and keep them busy, so they're feeling safe and it feels like there's like they know what they're doing in a way. And so what you don't see is that this person, it's a survival mechanism, and they tune out a lot of their emotions basically. And but anyways, what I'm trying to get at is like with the warrior and the medallion, it's like the warrior also talks about, kind of sets the scene where like there's a storm, or like there's some chaos going on or something like that, or something that they don't feel sure about with the sword here, where it would require clarity of mind. Almost it would require your heart and mind to sync and like to give you that ace of swords energy where it's like you have clarity of the truth and your truth and their truth. there's confusion within this connection on both ends, but the way you guys deal with it is different. And so this person tries to gain control back by putting a goal that's they can feel, see, taste, and touch, you know? And when it comes to their emotions, they don't feel like they can do that. And within this connection, they don't feel like they can get that comfort. And so oh, you know what I'm hearing is The Weekend. I don't know why I run away. Save your tears for another day. Yeah. And it's kind of funny because it's like, there's this feeling of them knowing that you are emotionally affected by this, but it's not their comfort zone. It's not their love language to do that, you know? And so I just think that this person understands that there is emotional content to unpack, but the way they handle that is by going out into the external world. And I always think about this reading from ASO Tarot, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know. She kind of talks about how, like, when we have like unresolved emotions or unresolved emotions or insecurities, vulnerabilities, some of us will go to tarot and some of us will go high priestess route, right? Where we will dig deep into meditation or dig deep into like our inner psyche and the psyche of others. And it's like very inward. This person goes outward. This person instead focuses outward when they're feeling uncomfortable. And the way that they try to gain comfort is to feel more stable externally. And then you try to feel more stable internally, right? And so it's almost like you guys are on different planes, is what I would say. So that hopefully is enough information for you guys to know whether or not this is your pile. Now we're going to go into the other oracle cards. So we have Sublimation, Sulfur, Jupiter. Oh, you know what I'm hearing? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? That's coming through. Yeah, it's like this is deeply emotional for the otter person. And I think maybe what you don't see about this emotion or about this connection is how it's external, like how there's gonna be a truth to it and a consistency to this connection, but you're not gonna be able to feel that consistency or have faith in this connection until you can see that there could be an emotional truth to this connection, but outwardly it's not being acknowledged. It doesn't mean that it's not real. You know, it's like these two things can coexist. And so um with the autumn and Jupiter, they're actually related here. So there's kind of a similarity between them. They both have the same sign here. And so I feel like what you're not seeing about this is how the connection is actually expanding you. And you may be under this impression that like the connection is doomed or that this connection was only built for like suffering or like built to confuse you, or you may sometimes get a negative mindset about this connection because you don't see it unfolding in the 3D in a way that makes sense to you or feels true to you. And so with the autumn and the Jupiter being here, it's that this connection is actually going to bring a lot of abundance and expansion to you and this person. But it does require, it's not that it requires anything. I don't even want to say that. It's that that's what you don't see about it, is right now there's a feeling of pessimism and confusion as to why on earth this is even happening or why this connection happened. Why does it, like, you almost feel like it's a cruel joke on you or like a cruel thing to have such an intense feelings for someone that's in this energy like they are. But Spirit's saying it's very divinely orchestrated to be this way. And it's almost like Spirit just wants you to know that this is in fact expanding you and it is going to bring abundance. And number one, I want to say that there is hope for this connection, but that's not the point, of course, right? There's a feeling here that this connection is bringing out how you can validate your inner truth and have more faith in your inner truth without needing validation that it makes sense to feel this way or that it makes sense to see things this way, because it's almost like Spirit saying that you are valid, you know, like you're already valid in your experience, and just because someone else isn't experiencing it the same way doesn't mean that it's not real or true. And it's also showing you how the same energy, like what if the truth is, and I do think this is the truth, is that this person is mirroring you and they are actually in tune with the connection just as much as you are, but it's also opening the door to you seeing the differences in everything and seeing how the same energy can impact another person very differently. And it's almost like finding acceptance for that and opening your mind too for the potential, for the possibilities that exist. Or it's helping you see how yes, it's the same energy, but in this 3D realm, there's a rainbow of ways that it can manifest in a person. And there's so many different like there's such a different formula is what I'm getting, or a different it's like your guys's, it's the same connection to both of you, but it's interpreted through you guys through a different programming, but it's still the same. And so what a lot of this sublimation card does, and this sulfur card, I actually took some notes on your reading, and like there's a feeling that it's learning the truth with this sulfur. It's about adopting a and or mentality, or a both this and that are true mentality. And it's almost like I feel like all of these are in reverse until with this sublimation card here, that spirit, what you don't see about this connection is that it is actually expanding your perception of yourself, the universe, relationships. It's doing all that, and it's actually giving you a higher perspective and like a bird's eye view, right? Which it's almost like the more that you like are looking at this connection through the external reality, it's almost like imagine that would be like the lowest level to look at it. And so whenever there's this suggestion of like, look at this from a bigger picture, a bigger perspective, it's like we zoom out, right? And so it's almost like, oh my God, old Greg is coming through again. Like, when in old Greg, when it's like, this is as close as you can get to Bailey's without your eyes getting wet. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a very funny video on YouTube, but there's almost this feeling of like you getting, and it's actually funny that came up because it's like without your eyes getting wet. It's almost like you are analyzing with your rational mind your emotions so strongly that it's like this is as close as you can get without just embodying your emotions and just accepting that that's the truth of it. You know, there's a part of you that is wanting clarity and wanting to get the more truth on this with the otter, or like you're trying to understand this thing that's this person in this connection, and it's like there's almost this feeling that you want to stay rational about it, or you want to rationalize it, but the only way you can rationalize it is by being in the 3D level of like duality. And it's almost like you will never feel peace. Sorry, not to say you'll never feel peace. It is a lot harder to feel peace. It is going to be a lot harder for you to find peace and clarity if you continue to try to bring two levels together that are not meant to be brought together. So it's like there is a deep and all-encompassing spiritual purpose of this connection that is bringing you abundance and bringing you growth. Despite what happens in this connection, that is just a truth, is what I'm saying. But you won't be able to see that until you accept the fact that you don't have to make sense of your emotions, and your emotions don't need to be validated by the external in order for them to be true or make sense. Does that make sense? It's like, it's almost like you're learning to accept the emotions that you have. Not just accept, but just feel them and just feel that it is the truth. And even though that is the truth, it's still the truth, even if this person doesn't understand the truth. It's still true that you feel this way towards this person in this connection, or how you feel about them. Regardless of any 3D condition, it's going to be true. But there's almost with this sword in reverse, this part of you that's trying to make everything align. It's like this and this has to be true. You know, like we can't have that. You know what I mean? And so what Spirit's saying is you get more confused by this connection when you try to rationalize your emotions and have them fit perfectly into a logical structure of what's supposed to happen in your life at a 3D level on an earth plane, right? And so, yeah, I'm just seeing that here's the issue, here's this, not the issue, but here's the blockage, here's the solution. It's like with sulfur here, it's like, Oh, and this sulfur card also talks about how something that is stinky and like seems crappy is actually the bounty and the gold. And I always get like it's one of those scenarios where if we are seeing it through a regular human self, we're going to say this connection freaking sucks. Like feel all these deep feelings. I'm super confused. This person doesn't open up to me. This person seems like they're totally fine. Why is the universe doing this to me? But that's from the 3D level. And you won't see the point of this connection until you move up higher and go, what is this connection telling me about myself? What am I being guided to go further into by my soul and by my guides? What is my intuition telling me? And the only way you can do that is to kind of let go of the logical, rational, this needs to make sense. Like for example, a way that we could do this sometimes is like, well, why would I have these feelings for someone if I'm not going to like marry them? Or if I'm not going to have kids with them? Or if I'm not going to live my daily life with them? And it's kind of like this understanding that in order for the truth of this connection to be there, it doesn't require all these conditions. It's like it already is, basically. So let's get some more. We have earth, air, and lucky. Yeah, and so this is kind of just confirming what I've been picking up here. It's like, here, let me shift these a little bit. Okay. So again, with lucky coming out, this is very much touching on that idea that, okay, I'm getting a couple of things actually. So what I'm getting is that because sometimes this connection isn't aligning with what you're expecting to see on like the earth plane, the 3D plane, number one, I feel like it influences like how you're allowed to see the connection, or your rational mind is trying to expand also. Like what, sorry, it's just like, it's like downloads just come through and kind of get me off track. But with this sublimation in the air element, I'm not surprised to see it, because it's almost like this connection is allowing your brain to conceptualize higher concepts, if that makes sense, or concepts that don't need to be validated by what you see in front of you, right? And it's almost like your mind is expanding. It's like you are learning, you're gaining wisdom through this. And then so with lucky being here, going back to my original thought, you don't see sometimes that this relationship and what you're learning through it and how you're growing is bringing you abundance, and you are lucky. Like this connection is divinely guided. It is bringing you fortune. Like, and with this autumn and Jupiter, you may have a hard time. Like there's a feeling here that what you've learned through this, even if this person didn't directly, like, it's almost like they're a catalyst for you. And I feel like they have been a catalyst for you to stand in more abundance and stand and expand more. So I feel like they have helped you bring out this Jupiter and this autumn energy, this abundance, there is a accumulation of efforts that and we also have Phoenix here. So like the way that this has transformed you and changed you has already brought a lot of luck and abundance. And yeah, lucky energy is associated with Sagittarius and Jupiter energy, right? And so this connection is bringing you that, but maybe because it doesn't like feel good in a traditional way, or it hasn't followed your expectations, or it isn't like a Hallmark movie, right? It isn't showing up that way. It's a blessing that comes through stank, that comes through difficulty, but it's working, is what I'm trying to say. It's like sulfur is working, it's working, and there's this feeling of, because it isn't meeting a certain expectation, or isn't logical, or isn't showing up in the way that we're used to confirming things by, like almost like I'm getting like, you can't use the scientific method on this connection, unfortunately. Like, and maybe you guys sometimes will get really analytical about things, but I feel like you'll feel the most peace in this connection when you kind of just allow the water element. It's like a battle between the air and the earth. It's like you want the earth to align with how you're seeing it and your logical brain, but there's a feeling here that the water element is really your truth, you know? It's like you're coming through in this water energy too. And so another thing I'm getting is that just because the connection hasn't turned out the way you want it to in the 3D, again, it doesn't mean, it's like you're having a hard time seeing how this connection has truly been impactful for you and how it really has mattered and how it has probably already brought you some good things in your life. And not this it's like the changes that this connection brought out in you are aligning you with more abundance and are aligning you with, are giving you, you are doing the work is what I'm trying to say, and you are succeeding at this connection is another thing I want to say, is something you're not seeing. It's like there's a feeling here that you don't feel validated in your feelings, or you don't feel validated in this connection. What was I going to say? Oh my gosh, I keep losing my thought like really quickly. You don't feel validated if it isn't traditionally working out, or if it isn't, it's almost like you're releasing the conditions that you have around why things happen in the universe, what you would traditionally label as good and bad also is what I'm getting. There's almost this feeling that this connection is meant to help broaden your view and help you see more duality and help you understand that good things don't always look like good things or feel like good things, but it doesn't mean it's not good, and it doesn't mean it's not bringing you abundance is kind of what I'm getting. And this situation doesn't require union for you to feel peace with your life and how you've changed, and to feel peace with your feelings for this person. It's like you don't need there, you will feel more peace the more you can recognize that you don't need it to make sense. You don't need it to all come together so you can have this moment where you're like, wow, this is why this was so weird, or this is why I got triggered that way, and like now we're perfect together and you've changed and I changed. It's spirit's wanting you to see that you don't, it doesn't have to become good externally for it to be good for you internally and externally in other ways, right? Does that make sense? It's like there's a feeling of not needing like it doesn't need to be one-to-one. It's like this is expanding your understanding of relationships and events in your life. It's also like through this connection you can almost see how the differences in others and events that we would typically label as bad can end up being blessings in disguise. And this one is what Spirit's saying, but it may be hard sometimes to recognize that. So we have first quarter, Earth in reverse. So we have Earth twice, Libra. And then we also have Soul here. Okay, so another thing that I'm getting with the first quarter coming out is I'm kind of, what you're not seeing about this is it's almost like there may be an impatience about wanting to see this connection progress in the 3D, or you may want to come together with this person, or you may want there to be some sort of, and with medallion here, almost like signal, or almost like a trophy, or not a trophy, but like almost like a commitment would be a symbolization of like this connection is good, like it's together, we're committed. It's almost like you may want that, but I feel like what Spirit's wanting to remind you of is that this is a process. I feel like that you're going through within your connections, and also with Libra here, it's just kind of confirming that Libra could be relevant, by the way, to some of your guys' placements. It doesn't have to be, but with Libra talks all about relationships, and it rules over the 7th house and the way that we view ourselves in relationships and how we negotiate that, how we find, it's also about balance too. And so there's almost this feeling of you learning a lot about yourself and relationships through this connection, and learning a lot about how to be a human and how to kind of see how the earth works, how to manifest abundance. It's almost like this is teaching you that. It's teaching you how to, it's almost the concept of not seeing the earth as everything's happening to me, but more that you're the creator of your reality. It's almost like you're tapping into that understanding through the truth of stepping into how you can feel love for this person, but you didn't have to receive that, but maybe you've never even received that much love from them. It doesn't, there's not, it's teaching about unconditional love too. It's showing that there isn't a certain condition on this earth in order for you to be deserving of it. And that's the hallmark I just love that word recently, of manifestation. It's like someone who's in a lack mentality, or not a lack mentality, but like in order to tap into abundance mentality, it's like you give yourself things intrinsically before they appear externally. And so it's like that in this connection. And so the more that you're waiting for something to happen externally with this person so you can internally feel the love, it's like that's backwards. It's almost like you need to go inwards and surrender and accept the love, and then the universe can then flow this connection externally. But there's a feeling of maybe still wanting to be validated, or wanting to, maybe there's still lessons you're learning about relationships that haven't fully been completed, and so that's why I feel like sometimes you're not seeing it externally. And also with air being here, I think sometimes you may overthink this connection or try to rationalize it, and it may confuse you. So with the first quarter here, what it's telling me is that it's actually, believe it or not, still in the beginning phases. Regardless of how long you've known this person, you're on this journey, and it's like don't what's it called? Don't give up, or don't underestimate the potential for your growth and abundance, and potentially this connection, because everything comes in cycles, and it's like this connection is helping you become more attuned to divine timing and co-creation, is what I want to say, because there's a feeling of, okay, like telling spirit you want to manifest something and being like, okay, like I'm going into this abundance mindset. I'm like going into my manifestation. Like I deserve love. I deserve whatever it is that you want to manifest. And then it's like 2 days later, you don't see the results, and you just needed to wait longer, or you just needed to maintain your faith. And so I feel like sometimes you may lose your faith here when you don't see external validation. And that could just be something that may contribute to a more anxious attachment style, or whatever attachment style you have. And for this camel person, I actually feel like they have a lot of the same wounds. And so maybe what you don't see also is that the way that this person may be dealing with this energy, that I feel like it's very similar for them. They may have a hard time having faith in this connection too. And so then they may still feel the connection, but then they want to distract themselves with other pursuits. They may be overly focused on, they're also focused on the earth realm. For them, they have a hard time believing what they can't see, And so if you think that you're having a hard time with the connection and like trusting it and like believing in it, so is this person. And it's almost like, just because it's almost like you may want this person to just see the depth of this connection and like accept it, and like what's it called, like merge with it. But there's a need for you to do that. And what that really looks like would be you not needing this person to see it, or not needing that external condition to be true for it to be your truth, and for you to feel the emotions you feel, and to accept the intensity of this connection, if that makes sense. So yeah. And then with Libra, what it's telling me is that you're learning a lot about connection and relationships. And this is a connection that's meant to change maybe habits that you've had in relationships that didn't serve you. It's meant to be a catalyst for that. And so we also have soul here, and it says the energy of the soul activates our connection to the part of us that is closer to the higher realms, God and the divine. And so what's really interesting is that, again, and this is reminding me of the sublimation card too, and it's like going up, up, up. I almost want to read some of this, but this talks about the divine. This talks about merging with the divine perspective, right? And so this connection is really pushing you and challenging you to let go of conditions, fears, attachments that corrode relationships, right? And it's almost a test and an opportunity for you to grow a lot. And to bring the divine down onto the earth. It's like the more you can bring unconditional love to this, and the more you can see from a higher perspective, the more you're being in touch with your true nature of your soul, and divinity itself, and unconditional love, which powers the universe, And so, yeah, this is a big, what you maybe don't see sometimes is that you maybe get caught up on what's actually happening in this connection, if you guys are disconnected, or if something went wrong in the past. You maybe can like focus on these small like 3D things about it, and then it causes you to like gaslight yourself into not seeing the beauty of it and not seeing the beauty of how you can love someone without them validating it. That's unconditional love, you know? And so I do feel like this is a lesson for you on that. We also have Mystical Sister here, back of the deck. This card's been coming through a lot on my channel. With Tin here, I'm getting another message as well. Oh, and Iron. Wow. This has been coming through a lot as well. But with the Mystical Sister here, it's like, this is a strong soul connection. This really is really deep. And you need, like, I almost feel like I just want to give you validation on that and just be like shaking and be like, yes, this is real. Like, you don't have to gaslight yourself into feeling like this isn't an important connection. And even if this person can't see it right, or isn't living that in the 3D, it doesn't mean it's not true to their soul. And I do feel like your guys' souls are where the magic is, you know? And so it's like a process of you guys aligning more with your souls. And so with Tin here and Iron, what this is telling me with all this Jupiter energy, what Spirit's also saying is that a part of you may really want this connection to you want to see the results right now with this first quarter. It's like you want to see it, but what Spirit's saying is that building something strong takes time, and you need to see that aligning yourself with divine timing and working on yourself. There's still things to strengthen within yourself so that this connection doesn't, it's like you couldn't come together. You guys aren't actually compatible at this time, you know? And there's a need to kind of accept that if you try to expand right now, and this also has to do with Jupiter's energy, it's like the Tin card is a material that can expand really quickly and is very malleable, but as soon as there's weight put on it, it breaks. And so this Iron is like the remedy to that, but it's also in reverse here. And so there's just this feeling of realizing that whatever tendency is within you that like wants to rush this, or like is feeling uncomfortable with it, or is feeling like you need more answers, or you need more validation on it, all these things, that is maybe something in itself that you're being called to look at, and being called to look at how and also I'm getting a lot about cycles, and like the autumn is a season. What Spirit's saying is there is going to be a season when you see this expand, but a part of allowing that is being in tune with the seasons. And it's like, if you're in winter, we can't be wishing we're in autumn. If we're in summer, we can't be wishing we're in autumn. If we're in spring, autumn is autumn, and there's a need to kind of know when it's time for abundance, and know when it's time to expand, and not let yourself doubt your feelings or doubt this just because it's not showing up in the 3D reality in the timing that you want. And there's a need to kind of trust in this process, is what I would say. So let's get some tarot now. Just pile number 1, not currently see about this connection. Wow, this has been a long reading. I did not realize. Oh well. This pile number 1, not currently see about this connection. Yeah, we have the Chariot. So it's like, to move forward, there has to be balance. And it's like you want to make progress and you want victory. But I feel like there's this feeling of maybe you learning how to stay steady towards a goal, or can maintain faith without being thrown off really easily. And there's also this feeling of maybe sometimes you lose a lot of faith about it if something happens or something goes wrong, or you get in your head. And there's kind of this feeling of like learning that Chariot energy is when you are able, with this yin and yang energy, you're able to maintain balance as you move forward. And so what Spirit's saying is, with Libra, it's like there's this energy of needing to find more balance within yourself, and that will bring you more progress, but kind of accepting that if it's not making progress right now, that's for a reason. We have the Emperor here. What is pile number 1 not currently see? We have the 7 of Wands. I'm going to clarify these and we'll get into it. Please clarify this Chariot, please. King of Cups. The Wheel of Fortune. And the Page of Wands. Then also the 6 of Swords. Okay, so the King of Cups is someone who stays very balanced within their emotions and is very like submerged in the water here and is very content with their emotions. It's like they can even be a little bit isolated and it's like this person could have the deepest of emotions like on the earth for someone, but they maybe wouldn't even say anything because they don't see having emotions for someone as this like obligation for that to be fulfilled, or like it's enough in itself. It's complete. Like it's a full sentence that you have feelings for this person, and it doesn't require anything for you to fully embrace it. And so I feel like what Spirit's saying is there's a need to find balance within your emotions in regards to this connection and to find peace with it is what I also want to say. Um, and also to let the past be the past with the Six of Swords. It's like, I feel like you want this connection to move forward or something, but there's this feeling of maybe baggage from the past still impacting this connection, or yeah, something like that. So what I'm getting here also is like with the Emperor, I'm getting a feeling that maybe even both of you guys want to maintain control, and I feel like that makes a lot of sense. But I feel like with the Wheel of Fortune here with the Emperor, it's like almost this feeling of gaining balance from when it is time for you to do something, or like plan something out, and when it's time to let the divine take the wheel. And I feel like you're learning a balance between those two. And yeah, it's almost like maybe sometimes you're in this energy where you kind of give up hope in this connection. You're like, well, if it's meant to be, the universe will do the work. And then maybe sometimes you get fixated on this connection. You're like, okay, like I want to make the plan, like I want to make this work. But there's this feeling of finding balance between the two and bringing more, seeing how your fluctuations and your emotions maybe cause these two states. And there's almost this need to solidify within your truth within this connection, because I think sometimes you fluctuate more than you think. I'm also getting that with the Seven of Wands here, you guys may be defensive towards each other. Um, and what I'm getting is that there is a need to release control and release the need to be right, or release maybe your fears of this person's judgment and vice versa. And I think that goes for both of you guys, is that I feel like what maybe you don't see sometimes is that you guys maybe both are trying to stay too in control, or you guys aren't doing enough either way, or there's this energy of like not dealing with it, you know what I mean? And kind of just pretending it doesn't exist and being like, well, the universe will take care of it. There's a need for balance between those two. And there's also a need to see maybe when it's time to put your guard down, and same for this person. Maybe sometimes you don't see that this person can be really defensive of themselves, and there is this insecure person behind it. That's something I'm picking up on, especially with this camel, moth, and rabbit. But with this Page of Wands, I feel like what Spirit is saying is that the path will open, that there is potential for progress. That's like a main message I'm getting too, but it's almost like it's not quite there yet. And the more that you're frustrated, it's almost like more reason to flip the connection on yourself and ask yourself, what am I learning from this? What am I maybe not applying all my morals to? And like, I think this is something that like I sometimes think about, or like we'll have a certain level of, especially if you guys are more high priestess types, it's like we'll have a lot of wisdom, but it's like sometimes are we really applying it to our life? Like, are we really not being hypocritical? Like, are we walking the walk, or are we talking the talk and walking the walk? And I think sometimes I check myself on this a lot, and I'll be like, if I slow down and meditate on this, I can see where maybe I'm not really honoring what I know to be true about the universe, what I know to be true about connections. And sometimes our brains can get us in this fear state, or we start wanting to control the connection. And I feel like Spirit's almost saying, like, when you're feeling that urge to control this connection, maybe it's a time to release that grip. Or opposite, for either of you, you guys could be experiencing it oppositely. It could be that you guys are ignoring this connection and not doing anything for it, and it's like, what is pushing you to do that? Is it from fear, or is it from love? And I feel like the way that you can open up paths and new opportunities on this connection is to ask yourself, are these thoughts based in love, or are they based in fear? Is this action I'm taking based in love, or is it based in fear? And when your person is maybe acting a certain way or doing something, you can also maybe understand that maybe they're in a fear-based mindset and it doesn't have anything to do with you. And maybe they do feel these emotions, but they're scared. And there's almost a need to release control about this person and understand that they're going to come through in their own time as well. And they're on a similar journey too, is what I'm getting. So yeah, let's get a couple more advice cards, and then we'll go into the extended reading. What advice do we have for pile number 1? We have to be fair in reverse. Yin. One more, Spirit. Breathe in reverse. Okay. And Treasure Island. Oh my gosh, yes. I love that Treasure Island came out. Treasure Island talks about how you can trust that your treasure is not going to be withheld from you. And I feel like for some of you guys, you may feel like abundance is being held from you, or like, you know, this is a card about trusting in the abundance, trusting that the treasure is coming. And there's also a turtle here. And so it could be, again, there's a message of slow but steady wins the race. What I'm getting is when you maybe get worked up about this connection, you maybe get, with Breathe being here, this talks about being present. You may either go into the past and that could influence things, or you could be projecting out into the future and it affecting your present. What Spirit's saying is you would really benefit from slowing down and kind of accepting where you're at and accepting where this connection is at. And the yin energy talks about not having to control and just knowing that you will receive. And so there's a call to reunite with your feminine energy and maybe spend, and the feminine energy also is that energy where we tap into that feeling of like everything is working out for me, like everything in the universe is happening for a reason. There's no potential to make mistakes. And I feel like sometimes when I've gone really deep into meditation, it can just bring so much peace because you just have this realization that we can just get into this like egoic mind, or this like mind that can make things really small, or like get controlling, or feel like there's something lacking. Or it can get like frustrated at its past mistakes, or it can be anxious of what's going to happen in the future. But when you get into that like flow state in meditation, there's just this like inner knowing that everything that's happened in the past was perfect. Like perfect. It could not have happened better. All of the flaws I had were magic. Like everything all the mistakes I made were the best potential outcome, because that was where I was at that time. And those mistakes were leading me to learning and truth and rebirth and things like that. And so there's almost this energy of the more you release control and kind of can see how this connection in a lot of ways does resonate. Like it's almost like the more in your feminine receptive energy, the more you can feel the truth of this connection and feel that it makes sense, and feel that even though it hasn't looked like a good thing all the time, it has been, it has been something that's serving you. And there's just this recommendation of kind of like relaxing, and whenever you're kind of running away, bring focus back to your present and gratitude for what you have and what's going on, and peace with your past, and openness, receptivity to what's to come. And then with to be fair here, again, there's the symbolism of balance, okay? And with the owl being here, I feel like what Spirit's saying is, and the Chariot is relating. Sometimes you may overthink this connection, or you may like get in your mind about it where you can't see. What Spirit's saying is that when you're in an imbalanced state in any way, you'll feel more confused by this connection. So the way that you can know whether or not you're in a balanced state is how you feel. It's almost like this connection can be a good check mark for you about how you're doing internally. It's like the more peace you feel, the more balance you feel about the possibilities and like what's been bad, what's been good, the more wisdom you will feel. And I feel like sometimes you may feel disconnected with that peace of mind and that clarity and that very feminine inner knowing, and so you're being called to reconnect with that. All right, let's get a couple more. I see I surrendered to a power greater than me. Let's get a couple. What does pile number 1 most need to hear to wrap up this reading? I honor how I want to feel, and that came out in reverse. Yes. So I feel like what Spirit's saying is let yourself feel. Yes. Oh my gosh. It says obstacles are detours in the right direction. 100%. Like, yes, that's what's been coming through. And with yes, like literally that's what we were just saying. It says when I lean into faith of the universe, peace becomes real. Like, yes. 100%. I would take those to heart. Okay. Yeah. And this also came through. Instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good of all. Oh my gosh, and my happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. Yes. When I think I've surrendered more. So that's what I have for you guys, pile number 1. I'm gonna intuitively kind of see what I want to go into for the extended reading. For the extended reading, I'm gonna look at how your person is currently experiencing this connection. And I hope that will kind of give you more understanding of why things are the way that they are. So we're gonna go into how your person is currently experiencing this connection with you. So that's what we'll do for the extended reading. If you feel like this resonated, feel free to join me. I do appreciate you guys' support, so thank you for all of you that have been. But I also appreciate you being here at the YouTube reading, so thank you so much. If it has resonated, please do hit the like button, leave a comment, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next Pick a Card reading. And I hope to connect again with your energy sometime soon. Hello, pile number 2. If you chose the Selenite Heart and the Apparition Tarot, then this is going to be your reading, where we are going to be looking at what you are not currently seeing about this person that you have on your mind and the connection with them. So I did pre-pull some oracle cards, and we're going to be looking at up here your energy and then also their energy, so you can kind of get an idea right off the bat whether or not this sounds like you and your person in the current dynamic. And then we'll go more into tarot and pull some more oracle cards as well. And there also will be an extended reading, so if you do feel like this really resonates, you may want to check that out. We'll be asking Spirit what is most important to go into. So let's get into it. For your energy, we have the butterfly, the lion, and the queen. Ooh. The song that I was hearing when I was shuffling your cards is, I don't even know the name of the song or even all the lyrics, but it's like something like, it feels good to be a woman, and it's like an empowering song. And so I feel like you guys may be stepping more into your confidence, stepping into your power. With the butterfly here, that would represent transformation. And it's almost like there's this like regality to you with the lion here, like it's Leo energy as well. Where it's almost like you're assuming your throne, or I don't know if you during one part of your life felt a little bit less empowered, but you always kind of had this seed within you, and it's like this feeling of you're blossoming, and you're coming through with a lot of strength and regal feminine energy, but also balance with your masculine energy. So your person's energy, we have the nightingale and the unseen. And so a couple of things are coming through with this energy here. There's a feeling that the person that you may be asking about, with the unseen, I feel like, number one, there's a lot of things this person maybe doesn't see about themselves. I feel like you are more self-aware than this person, so this could be something you also don't see, right? But with the unseen here, I also am getting the feeling that there is some spiritual protection going on. And it's not to say that this person is not a good person. It's almost this feeling of you leveling up karmically, like you've gone to a new level, and there's a feeling of this person still being on the level below you. And there's this feeling of being protected from any distortion that this person's energy could bring you, or it's like you're needing to get more settled into this like regal energy where you like know your worth, and you feel empowered, and there's even this like sense of royalty here. And maybe there's a feeling that in the past maybe other people's you may have absorbed other people's energies, and there's almost this like concern, with not concern but like potential here, where this person, maybe in the past you cared what they thought about you, or you may have wanted this person's approval, or you may still want that. And it's like, it's almost like you have leveled up. And so the lion's looking over here. But there's almost this feeling of this person not being in an energetic match to you. So there's a sense of veiled energy and protection, so they don't like bring you down or cause you to question yourself while you're still grounding in a more elevated energy. So I'm going to pull some more of those. So if that makes sense, or if that kind of sounds like you, I feel like, especially you'll know this is your reading if you do feel like you've been in this process of transformation and understanding your worth. And it may just be like you're looking at this person like, do you see me? Like, yeah, there's something about you being in this authentic energy as well. And also with the nightingale here, it's like you may see the potential of this nightingale, and you may feel very connected with them on a soul level. And you may have like, I feel like you have a lot of love for this person too, but there's a feeling that it's almost like maybe you wanted this person's approval, but Spirit's saying you're elevated now. And if anything, this person could learn something from you. And I feel like you're showing up more authentically and standing more in your power. And there's a feeling that this person with the Nightingale card, it can talk about someone who is creative or has like a unique message to share with the world, or they do have that content of also what you have. Like there is something similar about you guys, like where I could see why you're connected with this person on a soul level. But there is a feeling that they haven't alchemized themselves to be authentic with themselves yet. Like there's still this energy where they may, it's like there's this energy of almost fear being like, not right now. Like this you've leveled up and this person hasn't yet. So it's like, it's not that this is a bad person. I feel like I've already said that, but it's not that like they're dangerous or anything. It's almost just like there's just a level of spiritual protection going on. So let's get into the rest of the cards. If you feel like that's something like your energy, that's good. You should stick around. If not, you might want to check out one of the other piles. Or, you know, you may have multiple people that you're wanting to know about. So a lot of these cards came out. We have the Golden Rose here in reverse. I'm gonna, over here. Lightning. Breath. Sugar in reverse. Tin. And then antimony. I'm gonna put this on their side. Okay, and then we also have midheaven, descendant, and Capricorn. Just want to get these arranged. I'm gonna move this deck for right now. I'm gonna put the tin here. Okay. So what are you not seeing about this connection? It's actually very similar to what you're kind of healing from the past in a way. It's almost like you maybe have in the past had trouble with seeing when other people were selling you short or not giving you the respect that you deserve. Like there's a feeling of you underestimating your worth and underestimating how special and worthy you are is what I'm getting. And so there's almost this feeling here of because of that, it's like you, even though you've leveled up, you may still be kind of realizing where you're at. And it's almost like the more fully you step into this energy, you would feel kind of the superficialness or like you would feel the level difference. And I think you will soon feel it. I feel like you're just stepping into kind of understanding why certain people are sometimes pulled from our life, or it's just like almost like your energy is changing. And so people that you are familiar to you or relate to you, you are going to be going through changes in the way that you view yourself in regards to them and the way that you view them. And so it's almost like you're flipping from this energy of, does this person like me, to do I even like them, right? And it's like until you're anchored in that and anchored in protecting what you've been cultivating within yourself, it's almost like there's this energy of distance or divine separation, divine protection here. Or even if this person's unavailable, it's like there's a reason for that is what I'm getting. And I'm also getting here that this chapter in your life is a lot about with this midhaven energy in Capricorn. I feel like you're building up yourself up, and you're meant to be kind of building your kingdom or building your purpose is what I'm getting. And I think this person could potentially get in the way of that just because they are in this energy where they're not really completely honest with themselves, and they may still project outward. Like, for example, there's a potential for this Nightingale person to be like, you know, when they could even be jealous. There's even a potentiality for this person to act in a way that's like you don't deserve because there is jealousy, but there's also a possibility that you wouldn't see it as jealousy and you would take it to heart. And so there's kind of like a situation going on there here. And so what you may not see is that this person is a little bit below you on it, not like they're not equal to you, but like on a spiritual plane, if that makes sense, or like it's like you've leveled up or ascended. It's not to say this person doesn't have that potential, but that's the current situation is what you're not really seeing. And you're not really seeing that this person, you're not seeing that the hold maybe that this person had on you in the past and how maybe other people's opinions or what they would say you could take to heart. And so, yeah, you're in this process of becoming, and there's this element of like, we need to protect you and cocoon you, because this golden rose is all about, it's all about how these petals externally protect this like golden treasure in the middle. And you're this golden treasure is what I'm getting. And it's like, you're in the process of kind of seeing yourself as that golden treasure and recognizing that you do have to protect yourself. Because other people like to throw rocks at things that shine, can get jealous, or can try to tear you down from your pedestal because they don't want to level up themselves. And so there's just this energy of this person that's a possibility here. Even if you admire this person, it's just that until this person's willing to be authentic with themselves and channel their own creative energy and their own authenticity, they may have a potential to bring you down. And so I think it could be confusing because it's like, it's almost like when we grow in our self-worth or we grow in our status or like anything like that, like you're leveling up. And so it's almost like we look at people and it's like, it's like from your old paradigm, you thought maybe you had to be better to be with this person, or you thought that maybe this person had something above you, but that isn't the case. And it's like, you're in this process of realizing that. Does that make sense? So it's almost like your old paradigm tells you, the part of you that is leveling up and feeling more worthy, it's almost like, I hope I can explain this. It's like your old self thought that's what you had to do to get this person's approval, but the truth was you were always worthy. And if this person wasn't seeing that, that's not going to change. You know what I mean? How you change. So there's kind of an element of that here, and an element of you moving on from, of this person kind of helping you see how maybe in the past you put other people above you, or you felt, you may have just kind of gone around feeling less worthy than others or something, which is fine. I mean, we all have our things, and I understand that energy too. But this is a time period of you building yourself up, and it's not just that, like, it's not meant to be a shift that's just there is an internal shift going about you, but it's about to become external, or you're moving into it becoming extremely external with this midheaven and Capricorn energy. It's like you're grounding who you are into the world, and it's going to bring more stability to this newfound transformation, this internal transformation you've been going through. And so that's this next phase, and this person can't aid you in that. And I think that's what you're not seeing, is that a part of you almost wants this to expand. And this 10 card has been coming out so much, but there's this feeling of like the 10 card almost being, and with this lightning card too, and sugar here, there's a sense of like, there being a lot of attraction here, or like almost wanting to ignore the fine print and just like build on this anyways. Like there's a part of you that just wants to expand it, but what you aren't seeing is that this person isn't in a space to expand with you. And this person can't authentically really expand with you right now. And a part of you wants to like blow them up and like bring them with you or something, or like you want it to expand. But what Spirit's saying is that it would break, you know, like there isn't fertile ground here for this connection at this time. And then with the sugar here, it's almost like it's sweet, and there may be like this person just may make you happy, or you may just like kind of get blinded, or you may have rose tinted glasses towards this person. It's like, it tastes sweet, but is it good for you? It's kind of like that energy of like, of course it's enjoyable. I'm even getting the energy of like, why do all things that are like fun fun have to be terrible for you? Like drugs and like desserts, things like that, you know? And like, why does working out, like, why do things that are kind of like boring or not fun have to be like what actually like nourishes your soul in a way? There's kind of a situation of that going on. And it's like you're in this process of stabilizing this newfound energy that you're in, okay? And there's just this feeling that with this antimony card here, this is all relating really well, by the way. I'm actually gonna talk about this lightning card first, because what I feel like this is telling us, this lightning card, it talks about kind of when you are making too much light out of something where there's actually like flaws. It's almost like imbalance. It's almost like you're in this, it's a little bit superficial, and it's kind of this energy that doesn't see its own flaws or doesn't see its own cracks, and kind of like isn't being completely authentic. It's like this person sometimes thinks, and I think this is what you believed in the past. What's really interesting is there's this energy of you learning about how just because someone's confident or like thinks that they are, I'm hearing creme de la creme, they may think that, and that can go a long way in convincing people, right? And it can be attractive when someone's like confident in that way, but when it comes to this nightingale person, it's not really earned, and you're learning to discern that. You're learning to discern how the real value of someone could be extremely high value, but then not see their value. And then other people might be like, oh, well, that's not a high value person because they don't see their own value. And it kind of comes off that way. And opposite of that, there can be really people who aren't that high value and are kind of have a big ego, or like they don't really see their own flaws. And it's like can be believable. And so there's just this feeling of maybe you met this person too in a time period where you maybe needed more of this energy, where you were seeing yourself in a better light. Maybe this person, is good at just kind of like shrugging off like their worser traits. Whereas you might be hard on yourself, and you might be like, oh, like there's something about like you guys could have the same set of traits in the past, and like this person would be like super confident in it, and you maybe would like think that you're worse than other people. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a variable here that like is independent of the truth of the matter. And so this person is like that, and you're in this process of learning that and seeing where there's real value, and seeing how people can have a big bark, but it doesn't mean that they actually are someone you want to are someone you'd want to emanate. Like there's this feeling here of like, if you saw the truth, you would see how high quality you are, and you'd kind of see the flaws more of this person. And so I think maybe what's going on here is the more you see your own worth, and the more you become cognizant of other people's shadows, the more you will learn to protect yourself and kind of recognize why maybe there's like a blockage in this connection. I think that's something that you're learning, and you will learn as you're gaining more respect and like authority for yourself with the Capricorn here. It reminds me of, I think it has to do with the 10th house, but it's also like just like authority. It's like Capricorn is a very like goal-oriented person. And so there's almost this feeling of you're doing the internal switch, but you're about to, or you already are in the process of sitting on a throne, like in the real world is kind of what I'm getting. It's like you're going to be learning it more and more as you start seeing the external world validating this new internal existence. And it's going to leave very little room to see yourself in the way that you did in the past, because you're going to be on like a new paradigm and a new level. And then this nightingale person, there's a strong sense that they want something similar to you. They actually, there's a feeling that they may see your internal worth too, but the way they relate to it is jealousy and wanting to tear it down. And that may be weird, especially if this is like a romantic person, but sometimes that can be the case. It's like, sometimes people want people to stay small so then they don't have to grow, or like they don't have to own up to their flaws. And so with the antimony card here and the lightning, it's just really explaining how this nightingale person has a lot that they don't see about themselves. And you're going to start seeing through that soon, or hopefully through this reading a little bit more too. And it's not all sweet with this person. And with the antimony card, this talks about like the antimony represents this force where if you don't express yourself creatively or come out of the dark, it's literally talks about coming out of the darkness with the nightingale too, and singing your authentic song or expressing yourself authentically and creatively. If you don't do that, it says it can become corrosive to the self and other people. And this whole book, which is really good, this oracle deck is, it's the Alchemy Guidebook, right? And alchemy is all about like this process of transformation and how materials have an innate quality to them, that through being an alchemist, you work in the laboratory. That's what they call it. The laboratory would be like your workspace almost, or like a place of meditation, or a place where you integrate yourself almost. And so what this talks about is like how the antimony can be like poison to the laboratory. And so that's why this person, I feel, is being veiled from you or is not vibrationally matching with you, because they don't want this person's ish to get into your laboratory where you're actually like on your way and you're working really functionally with yourself. And so at some point you'll start seeing how, the more confident you get in yourself, the more that you'll be like looking at this person and being like, wow, like, I can't believe I like looked up to them so much, or I can't believe I sold myself so short in comparison to this person. And there could even be a little bit of frustration that would eventually come through when you kind of stop being blinded by like the sugar, like the sweetness, the rose tinted glasses. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Actually, should I? Yeah. And it's like, there's just this feeling that this person, if anything, should be bowing down to you. And also, what I'm seeing is it's like there's such an energy here of you learning to be selective, more discerning, and protecting yourself. Like there's just such a feeling of like this lion protecting this butterfly who's still getting used to its flight. It's like that's the energy that you're kind of in and being pushed to embody. And it's like with this breath energy, it's like you have this very beautiful energy too that's very divine feminine. And there's this feeling of like you bring like your laboratory right now, or your space, your energetic space needs to be pumped with like fresh oxygen and like not allow any toxins in that could corrode you. And so that's what this person has potential to do with the current state that this person's in. And it's like there's almost just a need to kind of see how this isn't an insult on you. It's actually kind of a compliment from spirit, or like the fact of this person maybe being inaccessible to you, or maybe this person like hides their feelings from you or holds back a lot. And it's like, it maybe because this person isn't ready to level up, you know? It's like there's just kind of this feeling that, yeah, it's like this person's vibes like maybe being repelled right now by the state you're in is not an insult on your part. It's really a sign of this person not being compatible with your energy at the moment. And there's a need to not take it personally. All right. What is pile number, we're going to go to tarot now. What is pile number 2 not currently seeing about this person, this connection? We have the Page of Cups. Yeah, it's like you're growing up is what I'm getting, or like even if whatever age you are, it's like in regards to feelings and love, it's like a part of you may hold on to this person in like I don't know if you've known this person for a long time, or you may relate them to a time when you were more naive or like young, but there's almost this feeling of like nostalgia or like not wanting to grow up is what I'm getting. But yeah, it's like a part of you is still seeing through the lens of like a doe-eyed girl or like a doe-eyed boy. It's like because the Page of Cups is kind of like that naive person in love, you know? What else is pile number? I am just getting that that's something that maybe blocks your view sometimes. Like it's like that sugar card too. It's like, it's almost like I'm also kind of getting the energy of when we, you know how sorry, I don't know, I'm like repeating that so many times. When we look up to our parents, it's almost like that too. Like when we're a kid and our parents can do no wrong, right? Like they're our heroes. Like there's an energy here where it's like almost like you may have looked up to this person or something, and it's like, or you wanted their approval. And that's something that is maybe weird for you to realize is like, this person's really flawed. Maybe you didn't see that in the past, or you didn't, you know, maybe you saw it, but like you just still kind of saw their good traits mainly. And this person does have good traits, by the way. Like, I feel like this person will progress eventually. Like, there's a feeling that they're also meant to alchemize, but it's just like you're going first is what I'm getting. What else is pile number 2 not currently seeing? The 9 of Cups and the Hermit, yeah. it's like, this is about you, you know, like the Nine of Cups, this is about your personal fulfillment. And there's like this magical fairy here and like this rainbow. There's 2 rainbows. Yeah, it's almost like, look at this. It's like you're upgrading. Look at how this is like a little rainbow going to a bigger rainbow. And it's almost like your old paradigm or your old like ideal scenario in love maybe just involved like gaining this acceptance or this cup of love from like this person. And like there's this like cute teddy bear on top, and it's like a kind of like, you know, more childish energy. But then it's like you're moving to the Nine of Cups, where it's like your new emotional fulfillment is you. And it's like you are all these stars, and she's also wearing a crown here. And it's like you're your own royalty, and you will not just have 1 cup, you will have 9 cups. You know, it's like there's just a feeling here of like, what you're not seeing is that like this is all happening for you, and like you have more potential to be happier. This person doesn't even have anything to offer you, is kind of what I'm getting at this moment. And so that's why this Hermit is here. What you're not seeing is that you're being guided away from this person, and separation will only bring you closer to more truth. It's almost like the Hermit energy is necessary because there's a need to be really in touch with your inner self right now and focusing on you with the Nine of Cups and less on like romance or like love with this person. And yeah, with the Hermit here, it's like, this isn't, and it's also like Virgo energy. And so it's almost like when it comes to like Venus and Virgo, it's like, it's just not the vibe. It's kind of what I'm getting. Like, yeah, what you're not seeing is that this is a time period for self. And that's very much for a reason. What else? We have the Nine of Wands, yeah. And it's like there's this energy of you stepping in. The Nine of Wands is like a spiritual warrior energy, and also an energy of realizing that, okay, what I'm also getting here, okay. Let me just get a sip of my kombucha and then we're going to go into this. I very much relate to this energy, or I understand it. It's like with the Page of Cups and the Nine of Wands here, there's a part of you that like in the past, maybe if people rejected you or hurt you, you maybe wanted them more, or you may have like had a parent that wasn't available to you or like hurt you, like, or not like physically, maybe physically, but like there's energy of like rejection and wanting the acceptance of a parent who it was hard to get, or like they didn't give it freely, or it was hard to feel valued by them. And so there's almost this feeling of you putting people on a pedestal that have rejected you or not seen your value. And it's almost like sometimes when things have challenged you, or like relationships, you may have wanted them even more. And it may have like brought you back to this place of where you were a little child and like wanting your parents, you know, wanting your parents' affection. It's almost like what you're moving through is like maybe a dynamic where, yeah, I do feel like there was something like this in your life where like you interpreted someone's unavailability and disorder, like their darkness and their shadow traits, as you not being worthy of them. And so you're in this process of learning that the actual truth of that situation is that that person was flawed and you deserved a lot more, you know? And so you have this like kind of trauma response of assuming, yeah, that the person that rejected you, or the person that was acting in a like dysfunctional way towards you, is of higher value than you, which is not true. And so you're this is what you're maybe is confusing you about the situation, is that you're meant to kind of learn that you don't need this person's approval, because it's going to become abundantly clear that you are in fact ascending past them. Like you have, and you may have always internally been on a higher level, you just maybe didn't really give yourself that credit. And same for maybe with you and your parents, you know, it's like there's a feeling that there's this like rose-tinted glasses that has to come down, because there's a need to like wake up to the sad truth that our parents were flawed. And sometimes it's really hard to kind of recognize that, you know, and I'm sure you have. I'm like, I don't want to like over explain, which is something that you probably already know, but I just want you to know that there's something from your childhood that may be impacting the way that you respond to challenges in relationships or being hurt, you know? Yeah, and a part of you might keep, also another thing I'm hearing is like a part of you may hold on to people or hold on to things and way too long. Like you'll keep going, even though maybe it's become really clear that like they aren't healthy or like good for you. And so that's something you're also overcoming, is like understanding your worthiness and protecting yourself. We have the Three of Wands here. What is pile number 2 not currently seeing about this? We have the World and the King of Wands. All right, the Eight of Cups here, and then the Ace of Pentacles at the back of the deck. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling this. Yeah, okay. I might clarify the Three of Wands because it's not immediately coming through, but I'm definitely picking up on the World and the Eight of Cups here and the King of Wands. So what you're not seeing about this is that you're actually meant to be closing out a very like prominent spiritual chapter, like a karmic cycle, you know? And I feel like this karmic cycle has to do with your self-worth and the way that you value yourself, protect yourself, and ask for your needs to be met, and the way that you view other people. So there's this energy here where you are... Oh, yeah, okay. Also, what I'm getting, the Three of Wands just like kicked in. With the Three of Wands here, what you're starting to step into is an understanding that you are deserving, that you have already done enough to be deserving. Because the Three of Wands is this energy of like expansion and kind of patience and waiting for your abundance to come in. There's this newfound energy within you where you're realizing that you can manifest what you want, that your emotional happiness doesn't have to be this battle, like doesn't have to be this battle with people that are refusing to give it to you. It's that you can give it to yourself and that the universe will give it to you. And this is something that you're learning. And the more you learn that, the more you'll be like, why the heck am I putting in all this effort with people that like are clearly damaged and not able to give me the love that I want? Like, this is a pointless cycle. And it's a cycle that you're really closing out here with the World. And it's like the more that you depend on yourself and kind of see how your own wisdom, let your own wisdom come through. And then the King of Wands energy is coming out. That this is also leading to your King of Wands energy, which I'm getting this mid-haven energy too. So it's like the King of Wands is someone who knows what they want to manifest, feels confident in themselves, knows that they can manifest like their dreams, right? And there's this feeling that maybe in the past you lacked the confidence, or you just didn't think you were as special as you are. And it's like that kept you in situations that didn't emotionally serve you, because maybe there was a part of you that didn't think that you could do better anyways, or like you may have had this energy of like dependence, because it's like because you weren't seeing your own worth, it's like you would just kind of, what I'm trying to think of the word for it, settle in situations, and you couldn't recognize when you weren't actually happy is what I'm getting. I think even with this person in the future, you will see how maybe a lot of times you were actually like really not happy. Like this person maybe didn't even make you feel that loved or like feel good. Like they like validated this sense of needing to work for people's love. And you know, this person, it just feels like they very much accentuated that. And that's why it just feels like a very karmic lesson here that you're closing out though, through your wisdom and through this energy of cultivating your inner self and becoming more protective. I feel like you're gonna be coming into a time period of having a lot of realizations about everything that I'm talking about. And through that, it's gonna be very empowering for you, because I feel like with the Eight of Cups, it's like you're gonna start becoming more aware with certain relationships or emotional situations that are just simply not fulfilling for you. And this could go in regards to anything. It's like this type of energy can be something that I wanna say corrodes, but like I don't wanna be that dramatic, that can impact not just our relationships, but like our job and the way that we go about our career, the way we communicate, just like all these different things. It's like, in the past, it's like you were not fully stepping into your authentic self because you thought you had to fit in, or you thought you needed other people's approval. And it's like, you're about to like fling away from that, and you're about to see your royalty, and like you're about to see your worth. And that's really cool and beautiful, and I'm excited for you. And it's just like this person is just like a representation is what I would say of that. Okay, and then with the Ace of Pentacles here, it's like you're no longer self-deceiving. Look at this strength. Through this time period in the Four of Swords, wow, okay. Through this energy of spending time with yourself and kind of recuperating,
I feel like you're finding your inner strength, and like the strength in the Leo card is here to follow your passion and to be very proud of who you are and no longer allow like shady behavior around you, like tricky behavior. You're going to see through a lot of people in your life, especially from your past is what I'm getting, that maybe kind of were too strategic with you, or like you just kind of turned a blind eye because you thought like, I don't know, it's like you thought if you stood up for yourself, like what would you have then? You know, it's kind of like you just allowed these situations in your life. But with the Ace of Pentacles here, it's like you're moving into this energy where like you know that abundance is possible for you, and it's like you're recreating your reality. With the Ace of Pentacles, it's like you're going to be pursuing something. Because with the Midheaven and the Capricorn energy, and the Descendant, I never talked about this. It's like what you're not seeing about the situation is this next phase is about your ascendant. It's not about this descendant energy of worrying about other people. It's like a lot of, I feel like your self-worth has come from your relationships with other people. And there's almost a dependency on that in order to feel confident and like almost needing someone else to love you to feel worthy. And it's almost like you're about to be in your ascendant energy where you are showing up in the world more strong and more authentically and you're developing that sense of ascendant in that first house energy is what I'm getting. But it's a process, and I feel like you're just kind of in a process of it. And I feel like you already would know you're in a process with the butterfly being here. It's like, I feel like you have been understanding this, and you are going to continue to kind of seize your own happiness, honestly. It's like you're learning that, yeah, you're learning a lot more about self-love, and you're going to be less hard on yourself. There's like this energy of like leaving this feeling that you have to fight for love, that you have to fight to be in this world, that everything is above you and that you're not capable or something. It's like there's this feeling of you moving through that energy. And it's like the overall thing with this person is just this feeling that, yeah, this feeling that you're going to be realizing this person's flaws, and it's going to help you kind of understand why things are the way that they are. So yeah, I'm thinking for the extended reading, what could be interesting is going into what this person would want to tell you if they were being completely honest. Like I want to like kind of dig into this person's like honest truth about what they think about you. I think that could be kind of redeeming, because I feel like this person sees you more highly than they let on. And there's kind of like a gatekeeping energy, or an energy where it's like they don't want you to get too confident, which is like not horrible, but like it's kind of a part of this person's thing where it's like they want to be the one that's on top. And so I just want to get like this person's honest view of you, and I think that could be kind of enlightening for you. So we're going to go into that for the extended reading. But for now, I'm going to get you some advice. Let me find... I don't have the deck that I wanted to use right next to me. Let me see if it's around. I'm feeling called to pick one of these guys. What advice do we have for pile number 2? In regards to this person, this connection, whatever they need to hear. What advice do we have? It says surrender. I release my need to control. It says failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn and then change. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement, and then also judgment. Okay, let me tap into that. I release my need to control. Okay, so I feel like there's this part of you that maybe felt like, again, it's kind of relating to that energy of feeling like you have to work for love, or like that if you don't worry about it and try to do something about it, or gain someone's approval, do things to gain something, then the universe won't freely give it to you. And I feel like what Spirit's trying to say is that it definitely will come to you. So you can surrender the need to gain acceptance or gain this person's love. With failure, I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. I feel like this has a lot to do with being nicer to yourself or being less hard on yourself, because we also have judgment at the back of the deck. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. There's a feeling here of like being really hard on yourself and judging yourself really hard. And I almost feel like things changing or falling apart or not working out are definitely not signs that you're doing something wrong or that you need to work harder to fix something. There's almost this energy of like, these changes were needed, and maybe like you're having a hard time with the changes that occurred in this connection or something, or just stuff in your recent past, but you are in this process of blossoming. And I think what would really help you kind of settle more into your energy is being nicer about your mistakes and not kind of focusing on them or letting that impact your self-esteem. It's like we all have to start from somewhere, and I feel like there's just this feeling that I want to like tell you to understand that everyone has these flaws. Like everyone has made similar flaws to you. Everyone has had to fail in order to progress. And so, yeah, there's maybe even an energy of perfection on you where like maybe there's even a feeling of like, if this person isn't in your life, you may have felt like you failed, or like you may just be hard on yourself for like the way that your relationships turn out, you know? But there's almost this energy of like spirit wanting you to accept that even if it doesn't seem like it's good, or like it's not like it doesn't feel good in the moment, or like there may be some like, I don't know, like tension between the two of you or something. It's almost like have faith that it's moving you in the right direction and you're learning about yourself, and this relationship isn't a failure. It wasn't pointless. Like nothing was lost through this experience. If anything, you learned a lot through this person, and I think you actually love this person a lot on a soul level. Where did I put my main guidance deck? Maybe this is a sign to use a different deck. It's probably like right in front of me, you guys. I constantly lose things in plain sight. Oh, it's right here. Okay, cool. All right, what advice do we have for pile number 2? Where do we want to leave them? I just saw Claim Your Power, Panther Spirit, which, yeah, it's at the back of the deck too. Claim Your Power, I definitely feel that. Okay. What ending advice do we have for pile number 2? What do they most need to hear in regards? Oh my gosh, look at that. Butterfly Spirit, transformation is beautiful. Yeah, there's this energy here of not beating yourself up for who you used to be, or things falling apart so better things can come through. Yeah. There's a part of you that may want to hold on to familiarity, or may feel like you abandoned this person. There's just this feeling of you wanting to work so hard to maintain something, or you're very loyal in a way. It's like you want to maintain it, but what Spirit's saying is like, it wouldn't be good for you or this person. And so there's a need to kind of lean into things, letting things die so they can be reborn, and kind of seeing the beauty in this process, right? Which is totally normal to feel that sense, but like that's what you're learning too. We have trust in the magic. Surrender now also. Yeah, and so I feel like what Spirit's saying is that like there's a need to kind of just trust that it is transforming in a positive way, and that you are a very magical person as well, is what I'm getting, and kind of trusting in the forces that are orchestrating your life right now. Trust that it is for your highest good, and there is a need to just forgive yourself and not be too hard on yourself. It says also take a leap of faith. Watch your words. This is to yourself. Watch the way that you talk to yourself, for sure. And then would take a leap of faith. Let me just connect that. There is this energy of like maybe needing to walk away from certain situations, or there's this energy of needing to trust where you're going with this Ace of Pentacles. I feel like there's this new opportunity that Spirit's guiding you towards, and I feel like Spirit's saying that certain things are falling apart in your life, not to hurt you, but to open the door for new potentials, and they're encouraging you to seize those opportunities. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys, pile number 2. If you're interested in the extended reading, I will have it linked down below. If you did resonate with this, please do hit the like button. It really supports my channel. leave a comment. I love to see what you guys have to say in regards to these readings, and also please subscribe so you don't miss the next pick a card reading.
Hello, pile number 3. If you chose the Heart in the Hands Tarot in the Angelite Crystal, this is going to be your reading where we're looking at what you're not currently seeing about this connection and this person. So I've pre-pulled quite a few oracle cards, and they should serve as a pretty good and thorough energy check-in. So you should be able to tell pretty quick whether or not you feel like this is an energy that you resonate with. There will be an extended reading as well, and I'll be intuitively picking the topic throughout. So if this does really resonate with you, stay tuned for that. I think that's all I have before we get into it. So let's just dive into your cards. So for your energy, we have the Bear and the Mirror. For your person's energy, we have the Beaver and Agape. So right off the bat, I want to say that this energy could be flip-flop. So for some of you, you could be the Beaver energy, and this reading may still be interesting for you because then it would almost explain what your person that you're connected with is not currently seeing about the connection with you. But for a lot of you, this will just be your energy and what you're not seeing about this connection. So, if you, from the Bear person's perspective here, there's a feeling that because of your own state of being right now, it's hard for you to feel connected. There's a little bit of a disassociated feeling here. Like there's a feeling of going through the motions or feeling a little bit. This talks about having spiritual amnesia or just kind of this feeling with the Bear. It's like a lethargic feeling. And then with the Mirror here, it's almost this feeling that right now, there could be a lot of illusion with how you're seeing this connection, how you're seeing yourself. And it's like there's this feeling that you may have of like not feeling like yourself or not really feeling like you're connected with like your life force or your passion, basically. And there's a feeling over here of your person's energy um, being a little bit higher vibrational at this moment, because with the Beaver here in this Agape, it's like your person is in this energy of well, first off, Agape talks about unconditional love and devotion and kind of taking the focus off of self and ego and kind of 3D topics. It's like this person is gaining a lot of energy and joy and love through um devoting themselves to a higher purpose or a higher power. And I feel like that's something that the Bear person, which could be you, is not currently in tune with. And so there's kind of this energy of like the Bear looking over and just being like, I don't really understand you. Or there could even be a feeling of, I don't have the energy for this, or even maybe I'm not good enough for this Beaver, or I don't feel like that, like how the Beaver's feeling, you know? And so the Beaver card is also a card that's very devotional and hardworking, and it talks about being joyous and just supportive and like unconditional, you know. It's like selfless service here on this side with the Beaver. And so I feel like your person is in that energy and it's very authentic to them. But then there's this feeling with the Beaver here of like not really being tuned in with that Agape energy, and kind of there could even be some self-loathing or just like some out of touch energy with the Bear. It's like there's just this feeling like not really seeing the big picture, and also um feeling a little bit dead inside. The way I could also describe it is like the way that I maybe felt before I had my first spiritual awakening, where you don't really have a faith in something larger than yourself, and you're kind of living on like the ego plane. And although there's like short things that can make you happy, it's like when you're not really connected with your purpose, or um, you don't really feel connected to your third eye chakra, your seventh chakra as well. So it's like you aren't getting downloads. And I mean, a lot of people that are connected, I would say, in this Agape energy, you know, this Beaver person feels pretty in tune with the higher chakras and feels a sense of purpose, and it feels nourished by the universe is what I would get. And then for the Bear, it's kind of like they are feeling cut off from that. And it's almost like there's a lack of hope that things are going to change. And I think that's kind of distorting the perception of what's going on with the bear's person's life, and also what the significance of this beaver person is. They almost feel like they're on different planets, or like they don't relate to this beaver. They don't really see how they relate, if that makes sense. So I'm going to pull the rest of these oracles, see what we have. So we have Fire Mother, Visions. Oops, I want it on this side. Actually going to pull these first. We have Synchronicity, Against Nature. We have 2 cards on that are very red with blood. So we have Reddening and Blood. We have Trust, Past Life, and Earth in reverse. Waning Gibbous. Here, let me adjust this up. Waning Gibbous, 9, and Waning Crescent. So these are kind of similar energies, actually. All right, we'll keep it like this for now. Maybe scoot these over. All right. So what I'm getting is what you're not seeing right now about this connection in this person. There's a feeling that the bear is having a hard time trusting in a higher power, trusting in synchronicities that they may be getting about the beaver. And with the Fire Mother here, like there's kind of this energy here where I feel like what the bear isn't seeing, which I'm just going to say the bear and the beaver in case you are resonating more with the beaver, vice versa. What the bear feels like they're not seeing is it's almost like they don't feel in tune with their like phoenix energy. They don't feel in tune with death and rebirth. And I feel like the way that the beaver is, I feel like the beaver person is someone who has been through hardships and still maintains their love for life and the universe. And the bear is almost like they feel like they're missing the point because it's like they haven't awoken in that way. You know, they haven't awoken to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, or there is like it's like they're not seeing the cycles of life. Like it's like this person has maybe in the past been in a much better place with their life and felt a lot better with themselves. And it's like that's like, let's say that's point right here, and then it's like we're going to go around the circle, and it's like then it's turning into winter, right? And so the bear's like in this winter phase, and it's almost this energy of like, remember when I was in like spring, like that was a beautiful energy. Remember summer, like I knew who I was then. And it's like they're looking in the mirror now, and it's just like this feeling of a sense of doom and a sense of just like what's the point, or not really feeling energized here. And so what the bear isn't really seeing about this connection, or yeah, the connection, and honestly it's really also about like, even though the bear is very connected with the beaver, a lot of their connection to the beaver um is not perceived or not felt because of the state of the bear. So if you're the beaver, there may be a difficulty that you're feeling because with the beaver here, it's like um they are connected with like the reason why things happen. And the beaver may even have more insight into the bear than the bear has on themselves right now. And the beaver just seems to want to help the bear and support the bear. And they may be very in touch with this synchronicity energy and this vision energy. And so what I'm getting with the bear is that it's like they don't see what's ahead, or they don't have like the energy right now. There's a feeling that they're very bogged down or very tired with the bear energy, and then all this blood and reddening. It's like what they're not seeing is that things are going to speed up, and there's also relief at the back of the deck here. And it's like this person the bear doesn't really understand that a cycle is going to occur. You know, it's like they're going to be their state forever. They're not going to feel out of touch with themselves. They're not going to feel out of touch with their own light. And honestly, the bear's in a really difficult place. So if you're the beaver, it's kind of maybe helpful to know that this bear isn't feeling like themselves. So it's important for the beaver to not take anything that the bear is doing like super personally or seriously, because um, they're in a kind of a darkness or like a funk or a state of limbo, that's making it hard for them to flow with the nature, flow with the cycles, and to have hope. There's a feeling that, yeah, they've been in this phase for a long time where they're just not really feeling connected with their life force. That's like what the blood and the reddening can talk about. And um, with trust being here, again, it's like there's this feeling that they're out of touch with they really don't have a like saving grace, or they don't have a feeling at the back of their mind that they know why they're going through certain things. And Chiron is also at the back of the deck here. Yeah, look at this. Oh my gosh, calcification. So things are heating up. Oh my god, wow. Okay, sorry. The winter is here, which is really, this is very much like symbolic of what I'm feeling is going on for the bear, is that they're in this winter time period, and what they're not seeing is that things are shifting and heating up, and it's like they are gonna be able to rise out of the current state. And it's almost like this calcification talks about when there's enough heat in the laboratory, and like that's like in the state of alchemy, or like let's say there's enough energy within this person, things will start to transform. But there's this energy of them not really having trust in the cycles, and not really seeing that whatever difficulty they've been going through, and I do feel like the bear has been in a really difficult place, um, where they're just not feeling connected. It's like there's maybe some disassociation, just going along with life, just moving through. And I think what the bear isn't seeing is that they may be going through a major phase of healing their Chiron, which is something that it also can have to do with our past lives, but also our early life. It's a wound that we have that um ends up being our greatest asset, right? And so there's almost this feeling of the bear still being in the phase of more seeing like the pain and the confusion and the fog, and just like I feel like they've been really hard on themselves too. Like the bear's been very self-critical and just almost like putting all this weight on themselves. It's almost like, why aren't you being the way that you used to be? Why aren't you feeling energized? Remember when, you used to have more passion in life? And so I feel like the bear does beat themselves up. And so it's almost like the bear would really be served by, and if you are the bear, I would tell you, you would be served by trusting in the flow of this process that you're going through, even though it's definitely not fun and it is painful, and it can just suck the life out of you going through trauma. Or if there has been some sort of trauma in the past like 3 years or something, or just everything's falling apart, or life, the identity that you had before is no longer giving you life. It's something like that. It's something like where the bear is maybe feeling a little bit resistant towards waking up towards their purpose, or waking up towards what the beaver energy is trying to show them and tell them. And so there's almost like a sort of opposite energy here, where it's like, imagine if the beaver is gaining energy from the universe, and like not really, it's not about themselves. For the beaver, they're living in a pretty exalted state, or heightened state, where they've learned to surrender to the cycles, and instead of it being my will, it's thy will. So there's almost this feeling of the beaver having given up control, and is like ready to flow with wherever the universe is taking them. And then it's almost like the bear is resisting that with this against nature. It's like that's kind of what's going on. And so I think that the bear maybe doesn't understand the beaver. Maybe even the bear feels, maybe the bear doesn't even want to be around the beaver in some ways, because it may be triggering, or they may just not feel like they have the energy for it. And there is a feeling that the bear is feeling not ashamed, but just like they're not at their best self right now. And so um, it's hard for them to be connected to the beaver, and it's hard for them to be connected to their soul and the purpose of why things are happening, and like the synchronicities that are definitely like our angels communicating to us. And it's like that trust and synchronicity energy are going together, and this beaver's in that energy. And so I think the bear very much misinterprets the beaver. The bear even could feel a little bit like abandoned by the beaver, or um yeah, but what the bear isn't seeing is that the beaver definitely isn't trying to um what's it called? I'm almost getting that the beaver isn't trying to show off or be like happy-go-lucky, and it's all, you know, that energy of like when you're not in a good mood, or like you're in a kind of dark place and it's kind of just irritating to be around someone who's happy. It's kind of like that with the bear towards the beaver, but the bear also would hate themselves for feeling that way towards the beaver. And I think that the bear sees the beaver as very pure and almost better than them, is what I'm feeling. And I feel like that wouldn't have always been the case, but because this bear feels like they've lost some of their like oomph, or their you know, like their life force with the reddening in the blood, it's like they've lost touch with their what's the word, like fire energy. So I feel like this person just doesn't have very much energy, and is almost feeling, I'm hearing impotent, like there's almost a feeling of the bear feeling impotent right now and just being like, I can't deal. And yeah, and so I think if you are the beaver, there's a lot of room for confusion and maybe taking things personally from the bear, but there's just such a strong message of, as much as you can, having compassion and understanding that maybe the bear isn't in the best place right now. But what the bear is not seeing, and I don't know if the beaver would see this either, so depending on who you are, it doesn't really matter, is that this is coming to an end. We have 9 here, waning crescent, waning gibbous. It's like this is transitioning to an end, and the bear talks about the end of the spiritual amnesia. It talks about it's time to move towards the light. And I think that what the bear isn't seeing is that they're not really trusting in that this relief is coming, and that there's a reason why they're going through what they've been through, and that they will have more access to, they will understand at a later date why they've been going through what they've been going through, and what the significance of the beaver person is in their life. But right now it's just hard for the bear person to be in this visions energy where they feel like everything's possible and they're excited for their future, and they know what they want to do. And I feel like um the fire mother is all about the energy of death and rebirth and coming out stronger and just having this energy to move forward. And what I think the bear also misunderstands about the beaver is the beaver's actually also been through a lot, and they've just been in this fire mother energy where they have phoenixed and risen above. And it's not that the beaver has it any easier, and I think the bear needs to know that they don't have it any easier. They've just flown. They've flowed a little bit easier with the cycles of life, and they've had a little bit more trust and openness to the lights. And the way that they've resolved a lot of their pain that they've been feeling is reconnecting with the divine and surrendering their ego and working to be more aligned with unconditional love. The beaver has. And but I also think what the bear doesn't see is that the beavers also struggle with a lot of the same things that they're struggling with. And so there's a feeling here that the bear may feel really different from the beaver, and may even just like not be able to deal with the beaver right now, because of their current state. But what they would be surprised to see is what the beaver has been through, and that they would probably have more respect for the beaver. Not respect, but they would probably be a little bit humbled to realize that the beaver has been through the same amount of issues, if not more, than the bear. And because of their attitude and because of their energy, they've flowed through it. And I feel like they're very much coming out on the other side, right? And so what the bear isn't seeing is that they also, even though they've been resistant towards this cycle that they've been going through, or that you've been going through, um, it is coming to an end, and there is going to be relief. And with the black egg here, oh, and the cosmic egg, so much of, I feel like, what you guys are learning in this, or like the bear and the beaver are learning, is like so the black egg talks about being your authentic self. And I think that's something that the bear has been struggling to find. It's like they've been struggling to feel real, or to feel like they know what their heart is really telling them, or who they truly are. And I think with the cosmic egg, it's like, it's almost like these two could go right. I actually might put them down here because I feel like there's an energy of, this is what the bear person's working on, is finding their authenticity and being empowered by their authenticity, and being able to better flow with changes through realizing that changes are bringing them growth and bringing them closer to their authenticity, right? And then the cosmic egg person, this talks about like knowing how everything is connected, and it talks about that unconditional love energy and that energy of duality and all of in the cycle of life, right? The cosmic egg, it's like this ongoing circle. And so just there's just this feeling. It's also reminding me of the fire mother. It's that the beaver has been more aligned with that. But again, with the earth in reverse, there's just such a feeling of heaviness coming through on the bear side, and this feeling that they may, and with past life here, they may be working through a lot of Chiron energy or like karma that is actually, they're going to feel so much lighter once they get through the cycle. But just right now they're having a hard time trusting it. So yeah, I'm going to get a sip of water. Oh, and by the way, the song that is coming through is that song that goes like, it's your heart, it's alive, it's pumping blood. And then it goes, I can feel again. And like there's a feeling of the bear being on the precipice of that energy of like the reddening energy. And it's like their heart beats again. And it's like, I feel again. But I think the bear has to get through ego responses with the mirror being here. It's like in order to really step into that like free flowing energy and that freedom energy again, it's like they just need to step out a little bit more and embrace the light so they can shine a light on their shadow and so they can feel alive again. It's almost like they froze themselves because maybe things are too overwhelming, and that's totally fine if they did that, but there's a feeling that they haven't been really willing to look at the truth of themselves and maybe the connection with the beaver. It's like they've been procrastinating too on the nagging feeling inside of them, like what are their feelings trying to tell them. And so if you're the bear, I definitely think that radical honesty with yourself and taking some time alone where you feel comfortable to let feelings surface and being open to looking at maybe the way that your ego isn't serving you and in what way, maybe what sort of habits or what thought processes like programming you currently have that you that doesn't serve you. And it's almost like the bear is just like in this process of getting closer to their authentic self. And I feel like what the bear needs to know is that they very much have the power to transform cleanly, like transform and lose nothing, and if anything be more revived on their next cycle. And I think that's what the bear just really needs to understand. And I think it's almost like until the bear goes through this and kind of gets closer to their authentic self and kind of wakes up again, it's almost like they won't really be able to interact with the beaver that much. It's like they're just not in this energy where they don't, number one, it's like they don't have the energy for it. They don't, the beaver's light even could be a little bit like blinding for the bear, and it's just like, I'm already in this process, like the bear is like, I'm already in this process, I've already been resisting a little bit. Like if anything, it's like you feel like oh, you know what I'm getting, like, you know, in biology when it could just be a catalyst, it's like the beaver is very much a catalyst for the bear, and it's almost like every time the bear like interacts or thinks about the beaver, if anything, it just brings them further into the light. And so that's a good thing that the beaver is this light for this bear. But given that the bear's a little bit resistant towards it and like has to go at their own pace, is having a hard time really just flowing with where the pain's taking them. Like this state, it's like they're kind of frozen, you know. And so there's just this feeling that it's almost like the beaver really needs to practice patience with the bear. And like I feel like the beaver um again, just working on being as like selfless as possible and like detached from the bear, I think would be useful. So if you are the beaver, I feel like what would be useful for you is to understand this person just like isn't in the state to be authentic with you and interact with you and be honest. It's like they can't be honest with you, or I don't know, I feel like you might be the beaver, but you don't have to be. But it's like the bear doesn't, if the bear can't really know who they are right now and be really happy about themselves and like aware of what they want and truthful with themselves, then they can't be truthful with you, and they can't give you the honesty you deserve and the clarity that you deserve. And I think that the beaver will very much be served by accepting that and kind of just staying faithful and just kind of trusting in the process too. Yeah, and just kind of letting it flow. And I think it's like this energy of the beaver learning to release and surrender this, and then the bear also learning to release and surrender it. But it's a lot less about the beaver right now for the bear. The bear's more self-focused, especially with the mirror being here. Yeah, the bear's honestly not that aware of the beaver. It isn't like thinking about them because they're more focused on themselves, and like they're having a hard time even connecting with people around them or feeling authentic in their space. And so that's what they're working on, I would say. Yes. Okay. Let me get some more oracle cards. Yeah, look at this. Between Worlds and Reverse is coming out. Yeah, what the bear, especially the bear, is not seeing is that they're in this process of transition, and it's very confusing when you've left one phase but you haven't really landed into the next phase, and so you don't really know what's coming. And there's like guidance here to kind of be kind to yourself and to understand that that's what's happening. And I'm also getting like a word of encouragement that you're almost at the end of the cycle here, because we have relief in 9. And so yeah, eventually this bear is going to come into light and is going to see. And I'm also getting that it's going to be a natural process anyways. And so neither the beaver or the bear really needs to stress or try to control the situation, because it's going to happen naturally, and it's kind of like being in touch with like the cycles of the moon or that feminine energy. It's like the more that both of them can honestly trust in the universe and trust in the divine feminine energy, the less like uncomfortable this relationship will be. We have Round and Round. Yeah, it's like this is an opportunity to clear out karma. It's like there's a feeling here that there is an opportunity if this bear could just the more that they embrace the light, I feel like the more that they're going to see their own patterns that they want to let go of, and they're going to see what they're transforming into and why. It's almost like over time this person is going to understand that, or you will understand that if you're the bear. What else is not really clear, or do they need to hear? We have Community, Treasure Island, and Building Blocks. Fork in the Road at the bottom of the deck. Okay. So I feel like what the bear is needing to understand. Also, I just wanted to let you guys know for the other piles, I did it slightly differently because I just felt very strongly that the left energy was your energy, the viewer. But I'm doing person A, person B, or bear, beaver, because I definitely think there's going to be like a split in this. But I am still going to kind of be speaking a little bit more to the bear, because I feel like it's just more about the bear right now, it's almost like the beaver's a little bit. It's almost like if they were both on a cycle, I do feel like the beaver's a little bit more aware of what's going on and kind of getting into a better space right now. But I think what the bear is needing to learn right now is who really serves them to be around. So with the Community coming out, there's almost a feeling that the bear may be surrounded by people that don't really resonate with them, or they don't really feel authentic around them. But it could just be that they're so used to doing the same thing for so long. It's almost like there's a feeling of loss of passion, loss of purpose, and loss of connection to the people around them. And I almost feel like the bear may be holding on to old patterns or old people that don't really serve them. And even though they don't feel passionate or don't really feel alive, almost is what I'm getting. It's a process of finding the people who can, finding the people, or realizing, honestly, I feel like for the bear, realizing that the beaver would actually be a very healthy person or relationship in their life, like regardless of what the relationship would be. It's like with Community here, I just think that what the bear doesn't see is that the beaver is a good person and a good friend, and there's no ulterior motives coming from the beaver. This bear may be in a state where they're a little bit like suspicious, or they just may not really trust, with that trust card there, the beaver's intentions, or it's like because of their past and because of the people they're used to, it's almost like they don't really see the the kinship or the connection to the beaver, but it's definitely there, is what Spirit's saying. With Treasure Island being here, I feel like, again, this is kind of the energy of Spirit wanting to say that, and there's building blocks too. Right now, the bear is in this energy of building a foundation for a new self, for a more authentic version of themselves. Also, the shapeshifter has been at the bottom of the deck here, and so there's a feeling that the bear may be used to shapeshifting, and maybe that worked for them for a long time, or they were used to kind of getting recognition from a certain community, and like that kind of verifying their ego, but then it was like at the end of the day it's not really authentic to them, and it got kind of boring. um Either way, the Treasure Island card talks about how the abundance is within and it won't miss you. I almost want to read some of this. I kind of haven't read that one in a while, but with the building blocks being here and the turtle, it's like there's a feeling of trusting in the process. And for the beaver, also the building blocks, the beaver is someone who's also dedicated and structured, and it feels like the beaver is even building this new foundation for themselves. And it's like everything is in the works right now, and everything's happening for a grander vision for both the bear and the beaver, whether or not it would be them together. It's almost like this connection has worked in a way where it's almost been a catalyst for both the bear and the beaver to break out of karmic cycles, with past life being here, to break out of karmic cycles, to learn where their authentic community is, to move towards the people and the places and the jobs, the things that really make them light up on the inside, to learn that the treasure is within. I want to read some of the Treasure Island card because I feel like there's a strong message about that. It says the law of attraction, bringing dreams to fruition. It says you've worked hard and acted on your unwavering belief in abundance, and suddenly in the midst of it all, you've hit the jackpot. You've uncovered the map to buried treasure and tapped unlimited potential within you. What you most must hone in now is your ability to recognize that X marks the spot, because some of these golden opportunities may be obvious, but others may not be so readily apparent. Trust your intuition. We have trust to light your way as you now enter this truly prosperous phase where all the long hard work navigating your inner life is now paying off externally. In all aspects of your life at this time, you have good fortune. Oh, we also have relief and good fortune. That good fortune's under. So what I think both the bear and the beaver aren't seeing, maybe more the bear, is not seeing that relief is coming, and what this phase, all this chaos internally and like this disassociation and just like this like depression almost, is bringing relief and good fortune. And we also have fire. Wow. And fire is coming back to this bear. That is all coming. It says now paying off. Don't forget to enjoy and share it with others. Yeah, there's such a feeling of like the bear, what the bear is not seeing, especially if you guys are the bear. I think what you're not seeing is because of like your own state right now, which I want to say is very understandable. And I think more people go through this phase than people are willing to share. And I just want to normalize like going through mental health difficulty or feeling dissociated. Like that's more common than you would think. And I feel like the bear, like I really hope that if you are the bear, that you could try to beat yourself up less and just kind of trust in the flow of cycles and growth and transformation. But especially what I think the bear, if you're the bear, you're not seeing is that the beaver is such a treasure. Like the beaver is what you really would bring this person. The beaver would bring the bear so much joy, and there's such a treasure to this person. And that's what it was kind of saying there, is like through becoming more authentic, through the bear becoming more authentic with themselves, they will be able to better see what's in alignment with them, with community and Treasure Island, and where the real gold is versus the fool's gold. And I think the bear has maybe been satisfied by like a lot of fool's gold in their life, but the beaver just feels like the real gold. And but until they're aligned with that perception and having that discernment, it's almost like they keep missing the beaver. They keep not seeing the point. Yeah, it says X marks the spot. Some of the golden opportunities may not be obvious. Yeah, trust your intuition to light the way. Yeah, trust that this relationship is meant to bring you prosperity. And maybe the beaver sometimes, I don't know, or sorry, maybe the bears, if you were the bear, maybe you may get into a pattern where you may just want your life to go back to normal, or like before you met the beaver, or you may just kind of wish that, you may feel like even sometimes the beaver is the one who brought out a difficulty in your life. And I just feel like the universe is just like, that's just really not the case. And the more that you can, that's just a distorted perception is what I want to say. So that's another thing that I think is kind of confusing maybe in this connection. But I'll read the relationship message too, because I feel like this is very much like a good understanding of what is the bear not seeing about the beaver in this connection. It says, your relationship is a treasure, providing even more than you need, but you may not see that right now. No matter how long you've been together, you and your partner are always discovering hidden gems about yourselves and each other. Now is a time of discovery. It's as if everything is in sync and everything is new again. Romance blooms and love is in the air. You can be assured this partnership will bring you great gifts and valuable lessons. Keep your heart open. The message of this card is to celebrate love and what it teaches you. Yeah. And so there's just a feeling that that's the essence of this connection. I think that's what's maybe not clear to the bear sometimes. Um, and maybe what's not clear to the beaver is because of the bear, and like maybe the bear not being able to communicate with the beaver or being in the dark. It's almost like maybe the beaver sometimes has a hard time trusting, but like with synchronicity here, it's like that's totally what this treasure island is saying is synchronicities are here and they are pointing you to the fact that this relationship is very valuable and is bringing you closer to love and embodying authenticity. And with building blocks here right now, there is a foundation being built is what I'm getting with the building blocks. And it's almost like trusting in the process. Yeah, we have chopped wood. It's about learning what's not for you. And I think for the bear, um right now what they're not seeing which way they want to go in life because they're not really connected with the light. And if they're not connected with themselves and what makes them passionate and what makes them actually feel good, and if they're only connected with like ego ideas of like what momentarily feels good, it's like that would be going backwards. And so I think this person has an opportunity to choose the road less traveled that's more aligned with their heart, or they can continue to do what they've always done. But it's almost like that would only create pain. But everyone has free will, and the bear, if you're the bear, you can decide whatever you want. But I think with this beaver, what you're not seeing is that this beaver is meant to be showing you and challenging your ideas of what's fulfilling for you, who you are, what makes you passionate, and why you're even here. Like, what is your purpose, what makes you feel passionate, right? And it's like almost going a little bit beyond the earthly matters and beyond just the earth plane for the bear. um mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and also with the bear, I think the bear is actually going through like a dark night of the soul, or is about to reach a point of enlightenment or more spiritual understanding. And that's also what they're not seeing right now, the bear. But if you're here, that if you are the bear and you're here, like that's cool that you are looking at tarot videos. Um, yeah, okay, let's get into the tarot now. Oh, I'm hearing defying gravity because I looked at this hummingbird, and it's like I'm thinking about how the hummingbird, like science doesn't even know how they fly. I feel like the bear needs more hummingbird energy or more faith. They don't need. I don't. I'm trying to get past saying things like they need this, they need that. Like it's not in a criticism way. It's more in like a they. It would serve them to meditate on the hummingbird's miraculous energy. Ooh, oh my gosh! You want to know what that just brought to my mind? I'm getting like the chills and it makes me want to cry for some reason because it's like one of my favorite books from childhood. But The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Oh my God, I'm getting the chills because I don't know if you guys have read that. I'm gonna reread that. The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane talks about this rabbit who was very like pampered, and he has this owner. Oh, and I'm kind of seeing it as the beaver. Wait, this is so cute and sad and cute. Wow. Okay, so like the beaver is like the girl that takes care of the doll, the rabbit doll, and the story is from the rabbit's perspective. And in the beginning, the bear very much, or the rabbit, who I feel represents the bear in this energy, very much takes the girl for granted, and is kind of, yeah, isn't really tuned in with their heart and stuff. And they're more a little bit egoic. So I feel the bear. I hope. Thank you for still listening. I'm not trying to like tear you down or anything, but it's a really beautiful story though. Like it really warms my heart. And then what ends up happening is that the rabbit like somehow gets like lost when they're going on a cruise, and the rabbit goes through this long journey of like hardship and pain and like losing hope, and it's just like this little rabbit, but it's such a spiritual story because in the end the bear or the rabbit, whatever, realizes the value of the girl and the value of their life and what really matters. They get humbled. They get really humbled to see their old self and their old patterns, and they get this really solid look in the mirror, and through their experiences it changes them. And I just feel like the bear is going through this process of that. So you guys should look up The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. That's like literally like, I used to like cry reading that book when I was like really young, like in elementary school, but it's really good. Aw. Aw, I'm my heart is like really feeling something, imagining the bear as the rabbit. Because you end up loving the rabbit. I want to say that you end up loving the rabbit and relating with the rabbit a lot. Especially from my perspective, being a little bit like, I don't know, I feel like I was a little ungrateful as a child sometimes, or I'm being called to tell you guys that like I just feel like I've kind of seen my own self being maybe spoiled or ungrateful sometimes, and I just feel like that book really puts it in perspective. And I definitely don't feel like that about myself now, but as a kid, I have some moments I'm not proud of. So as we all do, I'm sure. But anyways, okay. What is not currently obvious about this connection? Since I've been I don't know, I've been mainly talking for the bear, but I'm just gonna get it overall. Like what is not obvious about this connection right now? What are they not seeing? What are both parties not seeing, or either one of them? What is not clear? Okay, we have the Tower in reverse. It's that there's a reason why everything's breaking down. There's a reason why there's chaos or pain. It's like things have been changing, I feel like, especially for the bear, but I think it also happened to the beaver for a reason. Is like what's not clear is the why is this happening. And the Tower falls down, so because it's divine intervention showing you what beliefs you have, what foundations you have that aren't true and strong, that aren't really built on your soul. They're more built on your ego. And that kind of happens in The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. He gets like lost, you know? That would be a Tower moment for him. We have the Nine of Wands, the Emperor. What is not currently clear? The Five of Pentacles, yeah. Aww. What's not clear is why this had to happen, or like the pain that this is causing. Yeah, I'm also getting the Nine of Cups just came out. Ten of Swords, wow, okay. And then the Five of Swords at the bottom of the deck. What is not clear about this connection, maybe for both parties, like there could be a lot of overlap, but what's not clear is why certain things had to fall apart and why they had to go into this energy of sadness and loss. Why did that have to happen? You know, you guys, I cannot get over the fact that it's like the Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. It's like that's like really hitting my heart right now. And with the Nine of Wands being here, the Nine of Wands talks about the wounded warrior, right? And what they're not seeing is this is what's going on. It's like with this nine being here in the waning gibbous, it's like the end. It's an end of a cycle. The nine is getting very close to the end of the cycle, and it's like it's the point where you just have to kind of keep pushing forward, right? The Nine of Wands in its true essence, like when the Nine of Wands is in reverse, and I think sometimes this bear can feel in this energy, maybe sometimes the beaver as well. I know sometimes I feel like this. It's like the feeling of like having been through a lot, or just feeling like you've had a lot of rocks thrown at you, or you feel like you've gotten your fair share of just hardship, and it's just almost like, oh my gosh, I have to sneeze. Sorry if that was loud. It's almost this feeling of just like no more, you know, like just please stop, like please. Oh, you want to know what I'm hearing now too? Oh, you guys, I don't know, I'm getting so emotional about this one, but I'm hearing the song. So please, please, please let me get what I want this time. Who is that by? The Smiths. Can make a good man bad. Oh, what's the lyrics that? It says something like, it's something where it's almost like they say that enough things can happen where it's like it can make a good man bad. So just please, please, please let me get what I want. And that's the Nine of Cups, which is that fulfillment. And so I think, like my heart is dying a little bit right now, but I think there's been kind of a humbling process going on for the bear, and they're feeling like, why is the universe doing this to me? Number one, and please just give me a break, or like show me that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like I just want to feel like let me get what I want. That song is so like on point, I would say, for this bear's energy. Like, what does it say? Can make a good man bad. So please. It's almost like a begging to the universe, like, I don't want to lose myself. And I think even the bear sometimes is tilting the edge where there's this energy of where we either let our pain and things happen to us, like, and this is Chiron, right? Chiron's energy. We either let our pain break us. And I'm almost getting like, it's like I'm seeing it as like the red is like being the pain, and it's almost like you just close your fingers, it becomes pink, and it becomes this like bigger capacity to love, and bigger capacity, more compassion, more understanding of life, less ego, more love, basically. And it's like the bear's so close to this, and the bear needs to know that this is why they're going through what they're going through. Same with the beaver, because I'm sure the beaver also mirrors this sometimes. The energy of feeling, of needing to remind, I think the beaver has to remind themselves that everything has happened for a reason, and it is bringing them closer to their happiness and their wish fulfillment, and bringing them closer to knowing what they really want. And yeah, and with the 10 of swords here, it's like, I think what the bear, I think with the emperor and the bear here, I think that the emperor is maybe still trying to hold on to things that don't serve them, or that the bear being more in this emperor energy, like where they're maybe still trying to control things. But what the emperor or the bear doesn't really see is that there is an ending coming. And I don't want to be like scary or anything, but like, it's not that there is an ending coming. Like, we can hold on to this 10 of swords energy as long as we want. Like, we can try to stay in places where something is definitely ending, and we can be in denial about it, and it'll be painful. But the best thing we can do with this 10 of swords energy is kind of surrender to letting it go, and just like, the 10 of swords sucks, but it gives the promise that there's no more pain to come from that. And it's the energy of understanding that, don't resist this 10. Like, the bear needs to let this 9 move into 10, because after 10 it's 1 again. And I think that deep down, that's what this bear really, really wants, is to feel like alive again. I'm even getting like the and it's your heart, it's alive, it's pumping blood. And like, I can feel again, it's like the Ace of Wands is coming almost, or even the Ace of Wands, or the Ace of Swords. It's like clarity is coming. And I think that maybe both people, when it comes to this connection, is fighting the feeling of defeat, and fighting the feeling of, and I think especially for the bear, sometimes like beating themselves up, or negative self-talk, negative beliefs, like the way that they're feeling about their life and themselves. Like, I think it's something that they're struggling with. And maybe sometimes with the beaver too, like, especially towards this connection, like maybe having a hard time trusting that it is transitioning, or that we are moving away from pain and difficulty. And it's like, maybe it's sometimes like when we've been in pain for so long, it gets hard to remember ourselves, or remember who we are without that. And like, to be completely honest, I feel like I'm still on this healing journey. And some days I feel like this 9 of Wands in reverse, but it's like the reminder that everything is happening for you, and it's bringing you closer to manifesting what really serves you. And it's like painful when things have to fall apart. It's painful when things have to fall apart, but it's always so newness can grow in a better version, so you can build again. Yeah. And with the emperor here, I think there's an energy here of like the emperor, or this bear especially, learning that sometimes we have to give up a little bit of control and let things fall apart, so you can go back into your builder energy. And I think sometimes what the bear struggles with to see is how they can, like, how to let go of what they've built, or what they've been building, or how to transition almost. They need to believe in their power, their fire energy, and their magician energy. Like, the bear, actually, I feel like when they're in a good space, is like a master manifester, and is very good at creating, you know, like I think they're going to have a lot more progress more quickly than they think after this Ten of Swords, after this cycle ends. You know, it's like a painful cycle coming to an end. And it's almost like there's a message here of watching the mentality that both of you guys are having. And it's about, this is testing your faith in the universe through this connection, and testing your faith that painful things don't happen to hurt us, or because we deserve it, or because we're being punished. It's always happening because it's through love. It's for love that sometimes things are taken away from us so we can experience more love and embody more love. And like, that's what it comes down to in this connection. And I think that that's what's hard to see currently right now, maybe for both parties, honestly. Yeah. Okay. Let's get some advice. And then we'll go into the extended reading. What do I want to go into for the extended? I'm going to look at where this connection is headed. What you guys can expect next from this connection. What's like the destiny almost, because there is going to be free will, of course, but I want to see what opportunities are possible through this connection. What is the light at the end of the tunnel that you're not seeing? I want to see what is possible. What is possible here? What is this? What is the end game? What is this creating for both of you? You know. All right, let's get some ending advice here. What do you most need to hear? Pile number 3. Says, when I'm in alignment with love, with the love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. The moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. And there's alignment. And so I feel like, again, there's this message coming through that it's like, this is just a time period where you're readjusting, recalibrating to refine alignment. And I also think with fork in the road here, maybe both of you guys struggle sometimes to know what to do in this connection or know what to do in your life. I feel like what Spirit's saying is to not overthink it or get too down, especially when you're not really in alignment with your higher self, right? When you're not really feeling in alignment, it's always going to be hard to know what to do. And I think especially this bear person has a hard time making decisions or really feeling sure about what they want, you know? But I think that what the bear is actually learning is how to be more sure of what they want and how to be more authentic in what they want. There's such a message coming through of all of this pain coming so the bear and the beaver can be more aware of what really makes them happy. And so they can actually move in that direction instead of trying to find happiness where it really won't manifest for them. It says, my happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. So again, happiness is coming out, which is really interesting. And I think maybe a good message for the bear and the beaver would be, if you're confused about what to do or what's right, it's almost like this sacral chakra energy of letting feel your emotions. Like there's a need to let your emotions come forward, because they are a message to you about what makes you happy. And your fears also, I was like looking at this, it's really interesting. It's like, don't be afraid of your fears. That sounds like really obvious, or stupid, but your fears are directly telling you what you want and what your soul wants. And it's almost like, don't sleep on your fears because they're actually really valuable information. And it almost shows you where to have more faith in the universe, where to have more faith, where you're not having faith, maybe where this 5 of Sword energy is, you know, and like that's that fearful energy of feeling like there are winners and losers, and you know. And so I just feel like there's this energy of if you don't feel happy right now, what beliefs are catering to that? What fears are catering to that, right? Because we have trust here. How can we become more trusting? Let's get one more. It says, I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. Wait, oh my God, this is so cute. I'm gonna throw up. Oh, okay, so what's so cute is I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. That's like the bear to this beaver. Like, it's like they can't really see them clearly because I don't feel like they've looked at them through the eyes of love. And I think for both of you guys, like, regardless of who you are, I think things will become a lot more clear when you let yourself see each other through unconditional love. And instead of focusing on what this person's done to you, or how they've disappointed you, or when is this person going to align with me, focusing on acceptance and peace, and like seeing, not blaming them. And it's like, it's almost like forgiveness can come through. I almost feel like there maybe is a need for forgiveness here, a need to see how each person in this connection is flawed and human and has shadows, and we all do. And it's almost like I feel like things will feel so much lighter when the past is able to, when you guys are able to let go of the past, and maybe the way that, like, this has disappointed you, or the way the past has disappointed you, and not only seeing this other person through the eyes of love, but seeing yourself through the eyes of love. And so the more that you see yourself through the eyes of love, and you let yourself forgive yourself, I think that'll be really helpful for you. But yeah, I just want to send you guys a lot of love and tell you that this is all happening for a reason. As you know, sounds cliche, but it's true. And there's so much more light coming. And I think both people need to hear that in this connection, because I think this has been a really testing connection, a really challenging one. But yeah, I'm going to go into the extended reading now. So if you feel like this resonated and you want to hear more, I will have it linked down below. If it did resonate, please do hit the like button, leave a comment. I like to see what you guys have to say, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next pick a card reading. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.